all my streams are going, so we are live. All right, everyone that is watching now or going to be watching, hopefully you might hear this, otherwise you don't know what's going to be going on later. We're going to be playing some Enshrouded and listening to the committee hearing on motherfucking aliens, UFOs, as they call it, UAPs now, which I think that's gay. I'd rather call it UFOs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like I just want you to hear this because it's pretty telling,
Right.
and they're pretty much trying to admit it was saying everything's classified and we can't talk about it. But you ready?
Yep. Yeah, go ahead and send me that game invite too when you can.
Oh yeah, because this is gonna be like 2 hours fucking long.
Right. Yep, we're gonna be getting into some listen to this and definitely some good little Enshrouded missions. So I'll probably turn down some of my Enshrouded though also. Oh yeah. Hold on. There we go.
I'm over here just gathering up like materials and shit while I was listening to this and waiting for you to get on here.
Right.
But we can listen to this shit while we walk around. I can pause it and flip the game sounds and everything.
Right.
Or
right. There we go. I just jumped in.
When we're in the fights and shit.
Right. And if anything, I don't know if later, if Matt or anybody might be jumping on, we can always, since we're not doing cameras, we can just jump in whatever audio Discord we want.
Yeah.
So that's and not too bad.
Just flip the inputs and everything, but
yep.
All right.
All right. Cool. Yeah. All right. I'm ready for this.
All right. Let me put this on video on my side. And
hearing of the Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, Information Technology, and Government Innovation, and the Subcommittee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs will come to order. Good morning and welcome, everyone. Without objection, the chair may declare a recess at any time, and I recognize myself for the purpose of making an opening statement right now. Good morning and welcome to today's historic hearing, which I'm co-chairing with Mr. Grothman, whose subcommittee held an important hearing on this topic last year. I want to thank my colleagues on the Oversight Committee, including Mr. Burchett, Mr. Burleson, Ms. Luna, Mr. Moskowitz, Mr. Garcia, for their relentless drive to get answers on UAPs. They've been steadfast in demanding transparency on the sightings reported by military pilots and armed forces. Their commitment to digging for the truth is exactly what this country needs to cut through the secrecy surrounding this issue. And many high-ranking individuals in the military and intelligence communities believe UAPs demand greater attention, and thus the purpose for this hearing today. Former National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster said on Bill Maher's program that, quote, there are phenomena that have been witnessed by multiple people that are just inexplicable by the science available to us. Army Colonel Carl Nell, a member of the federal government UAP task force, said at a conference this past May that non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity.
There you are.
This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing, and there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that. But UAPs remain
I'm going to actually add the video
topic.
and I'm going to crop it.
I'm not going to name names, but there are certain individuals who didn't want this hearing to happen because they feared what might be disclosed. But we stood firm. No amount of outside pressure would ever keep me from pursuing a subject to ground, come hell or high water. On that score, I want to thank our witnesses for being here. We have before us a panel of individuals accomplished in the military, in civilian government, in science, and in journalism. Some of the testimony you will hear them deliver today does not reflect well on influential individuals and agencies within the U.S. federal government and perhaps some of our contractors. It's never easy to present such information publicly.
And perhaps some
so
of
I
our
appreciate our witnesses voluntarily agreeing to being here today. This hearing is intended to help Congress and the American people to learn the extent of the programs and activities our government has engaged in with respect to UAPs and what knowledge it has yielded. This includes, of course, any knowledge of extraterrestrial life or technology of non-human origin. If government-funded research on UAPs has not yielded any useful knowledge, we also need to know those facts.
Got that
Taxpayers
cut out
deserve
now?
to know
There we
how
go.
much has it been invested, how
Nice.
much has been spent. They shouldn't be kept in the dark to spare the Pentagon a little bit of embarrassment. The reality is, despite their enormous taxpayer-funded budgets, the transparency of the Defense Department and the intelligence community have long been abysmal. The Pentagon has failed 6 consecutive audits. In fact, it's never actually passed one. Adding to this,
Which is
there's
fucked
runaway
up. Yeah, which is fucked
overclassification
up.
of documents and materials, a
How
reluctance
is that
to
okay?
declassify materials when
It's
appropriate,
not.
and at times an outright refusal to share critical information with Congress. In short, it's not a track record that instills trust. So Congress has tried in recent years to lift the veil and find out if information about UAPs is being withheld, not only from the American public, but also from their elected representatives in Congress. Part of the transparency effort was legislation created in the Pentagon, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARROW, but the new office is struggling to get its footing. A recent statutorily required report from ARROW, intended to illuminate the government's historic assessment of UAPs, was heavily criticized by those seeking UAP transparency. The report has stoked suspicions ARROW is unable, or perhaps unwilling, to bring forward the truth about the government's activities concerning UAPs. I'm disturbed that
Correct.
ARROW itself lacks transparency. Even its budget is kept from the public. So if there is no there, then why are we spending money
You ready
on
to go
it?
do some?
And
Oh,
by
hold
how
on.
much?
I'm looking at my point system. See
Why
if I
the
want. I might.
secrecy if it's
Yeah.
really
I might
no
wait
big
till
deal
later
and
to
there's
redo it. But I'm
nothing
kind of
there?
looking at what I have
Why hide
spent.
it from the American people?
Right.
Because I'm not a mathematician,
Getting an
but
idea
I
if
can
I
tell you
want
that
to
doesn't
redo
add up.
something.
I expect some of our witnesses to
I,
share their views on that
Since I
ARROW
redid
report.
my shit
We
on
will also hear from the witnesses
with my high
today
character, I got
allegations
the
of
blink
UAP-related
instead of dodge.
misinformation and disinformation
Pretty
by government
badass.
officials of which they are
Right.
personally aware and directly experienced. And we will hear testimony today
So I think I'm
concerning
going to put
recent
money. I'm
revelations
going to start
about a
putting points
purportedly
toward the
secret
blink
UAP
instead of
program
change.
whose existence and findings
Right
may have been
now.
improperly withheld from Congress.
Would that be
But
healer?
before we get to the
Okay, I'll
witnesses,
do
we're going
it
to have a few
that.
more opening statements from our colleagues. And
Then
one thing I
okay.
wanted to add at the end of my closing statement is there is a document
All right.
that will be entered into
Oh yeah, I
the
wanted to check
congressional
my
record
weapons
today.
too.
Mr. Tim Burchett from Tennessee has this document,
I am
and we
ready.
just distributed it
Damage.
to every
Just fast
member
travel to
up
me
here on the
when you are.
dais of this document. But this is going to be the original document from the Pentagon about Immaculate Constellation that Michael Schellenberger delivered to Congress today. So thank you, Mr. Schellenberger, for this information. We are all reading it in real time now, and Mr. Burchett will enter it into the record. But 12 pages about this unacknowledged special access program that your government says does not exist. So with that, I would acknowledge my colleagues, Mr. Garcia. I want to say, first of all, to Mr. Connolly, who cannot be here today, the ranking member on my subcommittee on cybersecurity, I want to say that I was greatly saddened to hear about the recent news of Mr. Connolly's cancer diagnosis, and I want to convey to him and to all of our colleagues, we wish our very best to you and a full and speedy recovery. And with that, I would acknowledge Mr. Garcia for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairwoman.
Nice.
I want
Got
to
a
thank the
bunch more
Chairwoman
fucking storage.
and the Chairman both for their
Oh,
continued
yeah.
support and really treating this this discussion and these hearings in a way that's bipartisan. I think one thing that's very important for all of us that are interested in the
Drop off
conversation around
this
UAPs
extra meat that I don't
is that this
need
is an
on
area
me.
that both Republicans and Democrats
It'll be
where
cooked
we may
later.
disagree
We
in a
can
lot of
go
other
with
spaces. It's
medium
an area where
chest now,
bipartisanship
too,
is really
and make
important.
them
And in fact, I would add it's
glowy
critical that we
ones.
all continue to work together
on.
in a
Sweet.
way that moves forward
But we
with
need
the
like
truth
metal sheets and nails and
important disclosure.
planks.
Have a
for that.
bipartisan and
Right.
serious conversation, I believe, about our national security. We should always
Speaking
ground
of, I
these
actually have
conversations in
51 on
facts,
me, and I just put them in the
evidence,
box.
and the data in
51
front
metal
of us.
sheets.
I want to note that we have
Cool,
our
'cause we
witnesses
also
here.
need
I want to
the
thank you
border,
all for
which
being
is what
here.
we're about to go
and note
after.
that also we
Right.
amongst you have folks that have also served us in our military. And I know that for many of you, this has been a difficult process, but I'm very grateful to have you with us today, and thank you for joining us. I also want to note that today's hearing builds on a
right,
quite,
I should be
I
good.
think, also historic public hearing that we had many months ago that Mr. Grothman and others helped lead in this very same hearing room, where I believe we began a really important public conversation about UAPs. And so I want to thank him for that, and I especially want to thank Chairwoman Mays for her continued advocacy on this topic. I also want to start with some facts. We know that there are objects or phenomena observed in our airspace, as our witnesses will testify, and also possibly in our oceans. In many cases, we don't know what they are, and this is, of course, why we're discussing UAPs. Now, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW, has reported hundreds of UAPs that remain, quote, uncharacterized and unattributed,
Speaking of, yeah, I
and
need
which,
to
quote,
just
appear
go
to have
chill over there
demonstrated
for a
unusual
minute.
flight characteristics or performance capabilities and require further analysis. This is our own ARROW office. Now, we
All
shouldn't
right, so we got
prejudge what they might
34
be.
minutes.
I'm certainly not going to. We need evidence.
Yeah.
But we are detecting things, and we know that we don't understand them, and this is worth investigating.
Go ahead and eat
Now,
that.
the American people have legitimate questions, and I believe it's critical that Congress should help address them. This is about the truth and science and facts. Now, transparency and faith in our institutions is vital in a
This
good
dude's a
democracy.
douche.
Now, I'm proud to say
Yeah,
this
he is.
hearing will build
I love
on
how the
important
left always
bipartisan
tries to be
work,
like
and I wanna
truth,
thank
science,
everyone
and
for being
facts,
involved
and
in
they
committee,
never go to
members
truth,
of
science, or
our
actual
committee.
facts.
Now, in our last hearing in
Right.
July, we heard testimony that significant number of pilots of major airlines have witnessed UAPs as well, but have no real confidential way of reporting them to the government. We heard that commercial pilots who encounter UAPs may be hesitant to speak openly due to stigma or fear of retaliation. We also know that ARROW has reported that, and I want to quote, that most reports still reflect a bias towards restricted military airspace, a result of reporting from military personnel and sensors present in such areas. And so the lack of ability for civilian pilots raises real safety concerns and limits our ability to understand UAPs. This is a particular piece of this conversation that I am
Oh, yeah,
very
we're good.
interested in. Now, our last hearing inspired us to introduce the
ready?
Safe Airspace for Americans Act, joined by Chairman Grothman, Chairwoman Mace, and a bipartisan
Amy
group
and
of co-sponsors. I see some of our leaders
Yep.
from
Yeah,
Safe
that's,
Airspace for Americans
Yeah, I
Act
was looking
here.
at some shit. All
That
right,
would
yep.
create a
Mumble,
safe
Mumbalaya.
reporting for
All right, what are we
UAP
doing?
process, which we want to continue to do. Now, members
Go
of
ahead
both
and just
parties and senior
warp me.
officials in multiple administrations have now taken an interest in this
All right.
issue. Mainstream media, in many cases, is beginning to take more of an interest in this
Yeah, man.
issue,
Me and you both
and we should all
got
be
well
proud to
over
carry that
100
work and build
streams on our
confidence
view
for the
on our
American people.
or
I
100
believe we can
views on
always
our
be more
streams last night.
transparent. To
on
me,
Rumble.
this hearing
Right.
and others are simply about
So Enshrouded's looking
We'll
pretty
get
good
into
for
the
some
facts of
streams.
what
I'm
these
glad
UAPs
people are
actually
digging
are.
it.
It's very important that we
Right.
show that Democrats and Republicans in Congress
But
can work
check
together
this out.
to cut through misinformation
Yep.
All right,
and look for a serious and
oh,
thoughtful
shit.
way to have the discussion in
We're going right
public.
there, the Alchemist Tower.
Many of us have also called for additional public hearings to discuss UAPs. This should be a topic that continues on throughout the Congress so that we can gather more information, data, and work with the relevant agencies
Hold on.
to gather
All right,
more
what'd you say?
information.
I don't wanna-
Finally, just want to add that
We gotta
those
go to
that are
the
here,
Alchemist
on this
Tower for
dais,
the
many of
thing
us
us
have
in.
participated
Gotcha.
also in classified
God damn it, they're gonna come
briefings
anyway.
as well, and where we have
Oh,
also gained a
shit.
lot of important
Of course they are.
interesting information.
You
at least
bit
I
no
personally
move.
have. And so with that information, we want to continue today's hearing, and I thank all of our witnesses for being here. And with that, I'd like to yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia, and I'd now like to recognize Mr. Grothman for 5 minutes of introduction.
Thanks. Good morning. I'd like to thank
Fucking
our witnesses
assholes.
for being here one more time.
I know.
A topic I've been interested in since 8th grade. I'd like to thank Ms. Mace for working with me on this topic and for
And
making
their
this a joint
fucking
subcommittee
damage
hearing. Last year, the
thing
subcommittee on
actually
national
does
security,
stack
Board
if you
of
get in the
Foreign
middle of
Affairs
2 or
here
3 of
held
them.
a
Right,
historic
it's
hearing
ridiculous.
to understand the potential national security risk of unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs. We heard from former Navy
let me
Commander
heal up
David
for a
Fravor,
minute.
who shared firsthand experience with the UAP.
Yeah,
was
I
fucking
could actually
retarded.
eat.
While on duty in the Pacific. We learned from David Gresh, a former member of the intelligence community, who revealed the supposed
Alright.
existence of secret government programs hidden from
You ready?
congressional oversight. Additionally,
Yep.
83 meters to
former
the east.
military pilot Ryan Graves informed us of the limited ways in which the military and
goddamn
commercial
you.
pilots can report
Oh,
UAP
shit.
sightings.
Let's go.
Since that last hearing, I've led several briefings with government agencies to deepen my understanding of the issue. First, the Department of Defense Inspector General's office informed us that the Department of Defense does not have a streamlined process for service members to report UAP activity. Since
Oh,
then,
shit,
the Joint
okay.
Chiefs have implemented standards for UAP reporting across the services. The intelligence community Inspector
Oh,
General
no.
informed us that
Oh.
whistleblowers often fear retaliation for reporting mismanagement of highly sensitive government projects or information. Finally, AARO has expressed to the committee that, like any other federal government agency, it faces challenges that this is established, specifically
All right, there we
in
go.
hiring staff to manage UAP historical records and coordinating with other federal agencies.
Oh yeah.
Well, these agencies have been helpful to us in understanding the
Wait a
challenges
minute, this door.
that come from collecting
I got a door
UAP
right here.
data.
What is this?
None of
Oh,
them have been able
I
to
got this.
substantiate the claims made at this hearing mentioned by David Rush. Despite our committee members endlessly
Why did it
going through these
fucking miss?
agencies inside and
Okay,
outside
whatever.
of the skip.
She was acting a
I
little,
hope
acting a
our
little
witnesses
glitchy right
today
there.
will be able to provide evidence and content that is worthwhile to
Yeah,
our
hopefully
pursuit
they
of
do
eliminating
some
government
upgrades
waste and
on, or
increasing
not upgrades,
transparency
updates on the
to
game.
help alleviate some of the roadblocks and
Smoothness
support
and
the
some other
measures
shit
that were
because
included
it
in
still
last year's
plays great,
National
but
Defense
it is
Authorization
pretty
Act
glitchy.
to increase transparency
yeah.
and improve record keeping measures when it comes to UAP. But I believe there's still more work to go. I co-led the Safe Airspace for Americans Act with Ranking Member Garcia, which requires
still
the
moving
Federal
this
Aviation
way.
Administration to develop procedures to collect UAP data from civilian aviators.
Oh.
I look forward to working with members
this
of
way.
Congress
All right.
to see
Whoa.
if this legislation, other UAP legislation, crosses the fence. We've been alarmed by the reporting of the massive drone swarm that flew over Langley Air Force Base,
I'm sorry, what?
Virginia, last December.
Yeah, right.
Langley is the home of the first fighter wing, which maintains half of the F-22s in the
Nice.
U.S. Air
Took
Force
that out.
inventory. Reports of this incident indicate these drones were roughly 20 feet long, flying more than 100 miles an
Damn
hour
it.
at an altitude of over 3,000 feet. Yet the origin of these drones and their operators remains a mystery. This incident and other sightings near
Well, he hit me,
sensitive
but I got
military
him. It's all
installations
right.
highlights the complexity of the UAP challenge
Oh.
facing our intelligence, defense, and homeland security committees. Whether
Get
these
up.
phenomena are the result
Yeah,
of
it's
foreign adversaries developing advanced technologies or something else entirely,
All right,
must
we
take
gotta
them
go to the
seriously,
basement.
investigate them thoroughly, and assess their
The
implications on
fucking
national defense.
basement.
The repeated
gotta search
UAP
the basement
sightings
for this
around
shit.
sensitive military sites underscores the need
Oops,
for
what the
innovative
fuck am I going?
defensive
Door's
strategies
blocked.
beyond traditional measures.
Door's
They also
blocked.
highlight the
You can't
urgent
shoot
need
past
for
it. There was
updated
something
policies
to
address emerging threats as
Oh.
well as more effective interagency cooperation and intelligence sharing. However, none of this is going to be possible without transparency. For far too long, critical information about UAPs has been either classified or ignored, leaving the American public and key congressmen without clarity needed to make informed
There was
decisions.
something about this.
Is
Is there
Classified
one button we have to
reports
hit inside of this house?
fostering a more open dialogue about UAPs, will not only increase the public trust, but also encourage collaboration between government, the scientific community, and our allies. Quite frankly, there's been things that have been kept secret that is, I think,
there's the
old
fucking
enough that
cat.
there is no reason it shouldn't
We'll
be
have to come
released,
back for that.
regardless
What,
of
buddy?
its so-called,
Yeah, we need bait for him.
you know,
Right?
private information. A transparent approach will allow
Hi,
us to
baby.
share insights, identify patterns, and
How you
develop
doing?
new strategic defenses.
I don't-
As we continue to investigate these phenomena, we must do so with a mindset of protecting our country, advancing scientific discovery, and upholding the trust of the American people, who right now I don't think have trust. And
you eat it all
it's
while
just
you're at it?
obvious. I don't have trust. We cannot shy away from the unknown,
There ain't no
especially when
way.
the stakes are so high. I look
You ate
forward to
some food?
discussing these matters with the witnesses today. I'm hopeful we can learn from the testimony and come out of this hearing with
know.
actionable ideas to advance UAP
There ain't
nothing
transparency.
else here.
Actually, the idea is just to say, in my mind, go back 15 years and everything has to be released. I'm hopeful that we can learn from their testimony and come out of this hearing. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you. I will now recognize Mr. Moskowitz for
How
a
did I
5-minute
do this
introduction.
before? There is a
Thank you,
button.
Chairwoman. Good morning, everyone. I
You going
first want
back
to
over
thank
for a
the
little
chairs and ranking members for holding
And for just a
the
little
hearing
bit.
today on this topic.
You need to take a bath a little
and
bit.
again, having a second
There's the
hearing.
button.
I want to thank the witnesses
where?
for coming forward today to share your
There's the button
expertise on
behind this.
UAPs and the need to build trust
Motherfucker.
through transparency. But first, I want to mention, you might be wondering why Chairman Comer has allowed me to be a ranking member today, but it's really only because our dear friend Jerry Connolly is not here. As
have an
Chairwoman
idea.
Mace mentioned, he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, and all of us on this committee know Jerry, and he's a fighter, and we're praying for him and hoping for his speedy recovery. So today's hearing marks this committee's second meeting dedicated to UAP transparency. I was pleased, as I know all of us are, on the bipartisanship that existed in last year's hearing, and even though we can't talk about what happens in the classified settings,
I guess I got the wrong area.
that has existed in those settings with the questions members have asked. Last year's hearing was a great example of open dialogue about UAPs, and we must remain committed to sharing information with the American people. And I think you see that commitment based on the people here and the commitment across the political spectrum. I personally have worked with multiple members of this committee, but I want to particularly thank Congressman Burchett, Mace, Luna, and Garcia for working on bipartisan pieces of legislation.
What is this, collect?
In recent years, Congress has taken
Great
numerous
or
bipartisan
health
steps
potion
towards
at Alchemist?
greater transparency.
Yeah, I just
2022 in the NDAA.
I told you it takes a minute for it.
The All
You
Dominion
can
Anomaly
get through it.
Resolution Office to investigate unidentified flying objects. Following Arrow,
That's cool though. At least
along
we
with
could do
ODNI,
that.
released
Shit.
an unclassified
That was
report
not
on
the
UAP
button.
sightings.
What?
Of the
Yeah, what the
366 sightings included in the report, 171 remain uncharacterized, with some of
That's
these
what I
appearing to
grabbed.
have
What,
demonstrated unusual flight characteristics or
The
performance
masonry
capabilities.
or the
That's a nice way of saying we don't want to tell you what they are.
something.
In March,
Yeah,
Arrow
here it is.
revealed a report on the
Mortar.
historical record of U.S.
Mortar,
government
yeah, that's it.
involvement with UAPs,
That's what we
which
needed.
covered
All right, let's go
investigatory
back.
efforts going back from
All right, where are we going
1945
back
to
to?
the
The
present day.
main house?
Earlier this
Yeah.
year, I joined
Yup.
Congressman Burchett
Alright,
to
let me
introduce the
get the
UAP
fuck outta
Transparency Act,
that. Hold
which
on.
would require the declassification of all
Yep.
documents related to UAPs with many other members of this committee. In fiscal
All
year
right, baby.
2024, the NDA required the National Archives and Records Administration to establish the unidentified anonymous phenomena records collection. This collection will include digital copies of all unidentified UAP records that can be publicly disclosed.
Let me see the mortar
This
real quick.
commitment is in
Yep.
transparency is vitally important, and unnecessary overclassification has led to a void of
There you
information,
go.
which has allowed
Appreciate it.
theories over the decades to
Yup.
foster. When the American
Yeah, do
people
that.
and members of Congress ask, are reports
And I'm
of
gonna go
UAPs
drop
credible,
some shit off that I just
credible,
grabbed.
we're met with stonewalling. We're met with responses of I can't tell you. And in fact, we're met with people not wanting us to have hearings. We're met with people not wanting us to ask you questions. In fact, many of us were told not to ask some of you certain questions on certain topics.
That's fucked up.
In a time of
Yep.
heightened distrust of
You shouldn't
our
be telling
government,
people that
institutions, I believe
represent us to
more
not ask questions about certain
transparency
things.
is not only needed but is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, we can respect national security limits, but we also have to provide our constituents with the information and oversight that they have tasked us for.
You know what I may do?
As
I may
part
look on
of
Google
this,
also
government
on some
agencies
sites
must
and see
maintain
what
open
people
lines
say
of
the best
communication
skill build
with members
as far as
of
points go
Congress.
is.
And
Right.
there are regular
Like for what
questions
you
that
wanna do.
Americans have. What are UAPs? Are they real? Are they ours? How is this technology
Goo at
been
Alchemist.
developed?
Get that
How do
goo,
they get
dog.
funded? Right?
Oh, I'm about to.
And now we've seen
I'm gonna
this
goo
has
all
gone
over it.
from a long time ago where you could discredit people because it's some guy living in a Winnebago. You're able to see people now. These are pilots. These are military.
Shit.
These are folks with serious backgrounds. This has changed the face of this because now we have
I think we
video.
did that last night in my main
People
map,
have
that
questions.
ancient Blackmire
We know there
Spire.
are advanced technology
Right.
programs.
Yeah, we
Follow
Almost
the
15
melody? Yeah,
years
we
ago,
did. Okay,
one
yeah,
of
we
those
could do
came
that
out
tonight.
of
Shit.
Area
we do need to
51
get some
to
shroud
go
liquid
after
going
Osama
now.
bin Laden.
Right.
And the only reason
Get
we
some
know
what?
about that is because one of those
Shroud liquid
helicopters
again.
was
Oh,
down.
gotcha.
Because I
Americans have
just
questions
burned through
about
it, making
whistleblowers who
some
have
shit.
come forward to talk about
Gotcha.
and we need that for
retribution.
the goo.
Yep.
And so I want to thank everyone for being involved today
We need for the
on
jism
trying to
goo.
get
For the
more
jism
transparency. This has been
Jism.
bipartisan, bicameral, and as we get into a new
Jism.
administration, the president-elect
What
has
is-
talked about
hey,
opportunities to declassify information on UAPs, and I hope
I
he
just
lives
lost
up
what my train of thought
to,
was. My
to
bad.
that promise. And with that, I yield back.
I'm kind of
Okay,
stoned.
thank you, Mr. Moss.
oh,
Yes,
yeah,
I
that's
would
it.
now, committee staff asked me to
Dude.
go ahead and I will do it to enter into
I
the
got some,
congressional record.
I got
This
some
12-page
stuff for you
document that
here.
Michael Schellenberger brought today that
Right on.
describes the Immaculate Constellation government program.
Immaculate
so we will do
Constellation.
that now. Every member up here has a copy of it. The first section talks about the unacknowledged special access program called Immaculate Constellation, and the second section about USG imagery intelligence. And Representative Luna just told me if
You're
I
gonna
say
like
Immaculate Constellation, I'll be on some list. Maybe a FISA warrant.
Glasgow
So
fell.
come at me, bro, I guess. But
Come at me,
without
bro.
Yeah, she's
objection,
awesome.
into the
Put me on the
record,
list.
all right, so next we will introduce our witnesses
Shroud
for today's
grants,
hearing.
what is that?
Thank
Plenty.
you so much for
Plus
being here.
20%
Our
stamina.
first
Nice.
witness is
Yep.
retired Rear
For 30
Admiral
minutes.
Tim Gallaudet, who
For
retired from the U.S.
show.
Navy and is now the Chief Executive
Oh, yeah.
Officer at Ocean STL
That stamina's
Consulting.
26.
Our second
That's not
witness is
bad.
Mr. Lou Elizondo, a former Department of Defense official and author of a recent bestseller book about UAPs. Our third witness is Mr. Michael Schellenberger, founder
Okay,
of the newsletter
we got
Public,
that going.
and author of a recent journalistic piece about special access programs,
Follow the
including one widely
melody.
identified
Fireplace
as
for the
Immaculate
farmer.
Constellation. I swear
Show
the
'em
staff
that.
wants me on a list. Okay.
Oh, you ready
And
for
our
a
last
trip?
witness today is Mr. Michael
Hold
Gold, a
on.
former NASA
Almost.
official who is also a member of the NASA UAP Independent Study Team. Welcome, everyone. We are pleased to have you today. Pursuant to Committee Rule 9G, the witnesses will please stand and raise your right hands.
Yeah, I put that
This is where
farmer
it
dude
gets
down in my map
Do
too,
you
so I got
solemnly
him down
swear
as
to
well.
affirm that the
Got him
testimony
all
that
some
you are
beds and
about to
shit.
give
I'm ready
is
to get
the
that.
truth, the whole truth, and nothing but
What
the
is it?
truth,
The
so
strength and the
help
flame.
you
I'm ready
God.
to try to get that going soon.
Let the record show that the witnesses all answered
Yeah, we got to
in
get
the
some
affirmative.
goo going. We got to get
appreciate all of you being here today and look forward to
some
your
kind of
testimony.
monstrosity
Let
head.
me remind
Right.
the witnesses that we have read your written statements and they will
All
appear in
right,
full
I
in the
think,
hearing
No,
record.
for this
Yes,
one,
ma'am.
we got to
Please
fight the
limit your
dragon
oral
first
statements
before
to
the
5
monstrosity
minutes.
hit.
As a reminder, please press the button in front of you
All right,
so the
I,
microphone is turned on so that
Yeah, my shit
everyone in
upgraded.
the
Hold
room,
on, I'm gonna
members
go
included,
check
can
on the
hear
girl
you.
real quick
When
because
you
she
begin
knows
to
how to
speak,
do her
the
stuff
light
for the
in front
bathroom,
of you
whatever.
will
But
turn
I'm gonna
green.
make sure,
After 4
you know.
minutes, the light will turn
Okay.
yellow.
But
When
yeah,
the
I'll be
red light
right
comes
back.
on, your 5 minutes has
Alright.
expired, and we would ask that you please wrap it up. So I will first recognize Rear Admiral Gallaudet to please begin your opening remarks.
Thank you, Chairwoman Mace, Chairman Grothman, Ranking Members Connolly and Garcia, and members of the committee. Thank you for this
Yeah, I do
opportunity
like
to
the way this
testify today
looks.
regarding unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP. Confirmation that UAPs are real came to me in January of
do like the
2015
way
when I was
this
serving as the
looks.
commander of the Navy
Okay.
Meteorology and Oceanography Command. At the time, my personnel were participating in a pre-deployment naval exercise off the U.S. East Coast. It included the
minute, what?
USS
Oh.
Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group, and this exercise was overseen by the United States Fleet Forces Command, led by a 4-star admiral who at the time was also my superior officer. During this exercise, I received an email on the Navy's secure network from the operations officer of U.S. Fleet Forces Command. The email was addressed to all the subordinate commanders, and the subject line read in all capital letters, "Urgent Safety of Flight Issue." The text of the email was brief but
Urgent
alarming,
safety
with
of
words
flight.
to the effect, "If any of you know what these are, tell me ASAP. We are having multiple near mid-air collisions, and if we do not resolve this soon, we are going to have to shut down the exercise." Attached to the email is what is now known as the Go Fast video, captured on the forward-looking infrared sensor of one of the Navy F-A-18 aircraft participating in the exercise. The now declassified video showed an unidentified object exhibiting flight and structural characteristics unlike anything in our arsenal. The implication of the email was clear. The author was asking whether any of the recipients were aware of classified technology demonstrations that could explain these objects. Because the DoD policy is to rigorously deconflict such demonstrations with live exercises, I was confident this was not the case. The very next day, that email disappeared from my account and those of the other recipients without explanation. Moreover, the commander of Fleet Forces Command and the operations officer never discussed the subject. Even during weekly meetings specifically designed to address issues affecting exercises like the one in which the Theodore Roosevelt Strike Group was participating. This lack of follow-up was very concerning to me. As the Navy's chief meteorologist at the time, I was responsible for reducing safety of flight risks. Yet it appeared to me that no one at the flag officer level was addressing the safety risk posed by UAPs. Instead, pilots were left to mitigate these threats on their own without guidance or support. I concluded that the UAP information must have been classified within a special access program managed by an intelligence agency. That is a compartmented program that even senior officials, including myself, were not read into. Last year's UAP hearing before this Oversight Committee confirmed that UAP-related information is being withheld from senior officials and members of Congress. And just this week, I learned from former DoD official Chris Mellon that satellite imagery of UAP from a few years ago still has not been shared with Congress. Equally concerning, last year's UAP hearing also revealed that elements of the government are engaged in a disinformation campaign to include personal attacks designed to discredit UAP whistleblowers. Having never signed a non-disclosure agreement regarding UAPs and now as a private citizen, I've become an advocate for greater UAP transparency from the government. The continued overclassification surrounding UAPs has not only hindered our ability to effectively address these phenomena, but has also eroded trust in our institutions. While I applaud previous bipartisan legislation passed by Congress concerning UAPs, a more comprehensive approach is needed to address the broader implication of UAP on public safety and national security, as well as the socioeconomic opportunities that open UAP research could unlock. Therefore, I recommend Congress take the following action, which I believe will receive bipartisan support. First, establish robust oversight of the executive branch's management of UAP information by directing key officials, beginning with the director of the DoD's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, to provide comprehensive briefings on what the government knows about UAP and does not know.
Get your ass
enact
back
the
in your room
provisions
and
of the
stay,
UAP
bitch.
Disclosure Act that establish a UAP Records Review Board to ensure independent oversight, transparency, and accountability in the government's handling of UAP information. And 3, strengthen the UAP Disclosure Act and future reauthorizations with provisions that mandate a whole-of-government approach to addressing UAP. In closing, I will share my personal reasons for speaking out on this topic.
I think
First, as
our hunter here is a lesbian.
agency leader, having led the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration,
Every time we're
I've
not
always
around,
sought
she
the
goes
truth
into
and human knowledge and
the
thought.
farmers area.
Now that we know UAP are interacting with humanity and these
like sub baby.
unidentified submerged objects
She's
in the
supposed
ocean,
to stay
we
where
should not
she's
turn a
at, but she
blind
never
eye,
fucking
but
does.
instead
I know,
focus
it's
on
weird,
the
ain't it?
reality and learn from it. Additionally, at a time when leaders in government leave much to be
Just like
desired,
Which is like how you
I feel
doing.
obligated to show moral
Right?
leadership on this issue of UAP disclosure by validating
You
the
got a
credibility of the
pretty
courageous
mouth.
men and women
Right.
who've come
You
out
sure
as
are pretty
witnesses
over
and
here, farmer.
whistleblowers to expose the truth.
Yeah, we need to have
My speaking
goo
out has encouraged
make
others to do
these
the same, and it may
medium magic chests.
it's my hope over time that a number of your
Shroud core and
constituents
goo, which means we need a
will want
lot
to
of
know the
liquid.
truth and about
The
UAP
liquid shroud.
This number
Right,
will
you gotta
increase
go
to
hit
such an
those little
extent
shroom things.
that the congressional
And
action
the
I've just
shroud
recommended will
spores
become
from the-
inevitable.
The
Thank
goofy
you, and I look
guys.
forward to your questions.
All right.
I mean, we
Thank
can
you.
do
I will
that
now
real quick.
recognize Mr. Elizondo for his opening statement.
Greetings, Chairwoman Mace.
I'm just gonna dive
Chairman
right here.
Rothman, Ranking Members Connolly and Garcia, and members of the committee. It is my honor and privilege to testify before you on the issue of unidentified anomalous phenomenon, formerly known as UFOs. On behalf of our brave men and women in uniform and across the intelligence community, as well as my fellow Americans, who have
Anything
awaited
we
this
find
day,
in here as far
thank
as
you for your
enemies are
leadership
concerned.
on this important matter. Let me be clear. UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government
If you use
or any
your
other government are
your
monitoring
axe,
sensitive
your
military
Yeah.
installations
for like
around the
trees
globe.
and shit,
Furthermore, the U.S.
you can
is in
cut them
possession
down,
of
but then you
UAP
got to pick the shit up
technologies,
off the ground.
as are some of our adversaries.
So I just
I
don't
believe
worry
we are
about
in
it.
the midst of a multi-decade secretive
Whereas
Right.
arms
just
race,
moving around
one
getting the
funded
small shit
by
is
misallocated taxpayer dollars
better on
and hidden
stamina and
from our
time.
elected representatives and oversight bodies. For many years, I
Right.
was entrusted with protecting some of our nation's most sensitive programs. In my last position, I managed a special access program on behalf of the White House and the National Security Council. As such, I appreciate the need to protect certain sensitive intelligence and military information. I consider my oath to protect secrets as sacred, and I will always put the safety of the American people
I always like to
with that said,
keep
I
secrets
also
from
understand
people.
the consequences of
Right?
excessive secrecy and
I don't like
stovepiping.
that.
Nowhere was this more apparent than in the aftermath of 9/11.
That's funny though,
which
because
many of
later
us
on he's just like,
remember
I
all
can't
too
talk
well.
to you about that, and
I
so we're
believe
in a
that
closed
America's
setting.
greatness depends
Right.
on three elements.
I'm like, what the fuck, man?
A watchful Congress, B, a responsive executive
Okay.
branch, and C, an informed public.
I'm going back
Over the
down
last
there to
decade
grab
and a
some more.
half, I learned that certain UAP programs were and are operating without any of these elements. Although much of my government work on the UAP subject still remains classified, excessive secrecy has led to grave misdeeds against loyal civil servants, military personnel, and the public. all to hide the fact that we are not alone in the cosmos. A small cadre within our own government involved in the UAP topic has created a culture of suppression and intimidation that I've personally been victim to, along with many of my former colleagues. This includes unwarranted criminal investigations, harassment, and efforts to destroy one's credibility. Most Americans would be shocked to learn that the Pentagon's very own Public Affairs Office openly employs a professional psychological operations officer as the singular point of contact for any UAP-related inquiries from citizens and the media. This is unacceptable. Many of my former colleagues and I have provided classified testimony to both the Department of Defense and the Intelligence Community Inspector General. Many of us have
Why
subsequently
so much
been
effort
targeted
if this shit
by this
ain't true,
cabal
you know?
with threats to our careers, our security clearances, and even our lives. This is not hyperbole, it's a genuine fact, and this is wrong.
Damn, we're gonna need some metal scratch
To fix
too.
these problems, I propose 3 principal actions. First, Congress and the President should create a single point of contact responsible for a whole-of-government approach to the UAP issue. Currently, the White House, CIA, NASA, the Pentagon, Department of Energy, and others play a role, but no one seems to be in charge, leading to unchecked power and corruption. Second, we need a national UAP strategy that will promote transparency and help restore the American public's trust at a time when the public's trust is at an all-time low. This strategy should include a whole-of-government approach, including the academic and scientific communities,
You're
the
getting there
private
faster
sector,
than I am
and
now.
our international partners and allies. Third, Congress should create a protected environment so whistleblowers desperate to do the right thing can come forward without fear. As it currently stands, these whistleblowers suffer because of stigma, a code of silence, and concerns about retaliation. These whistleblowers should be encouraged to come forward in ways that protect them against any forms of retaliation. Policies and procedures should ensure that protection, and for those who refuse to cooperate, it is up to the members of this committee and the other lawmakers to wield their subpoena power against hostile witnesses and prevent additional government funding to those UAP efforts that remain hidden from congressional oversight. In closing, we as Americans have never been afraid of a challenge. In fact, we thrive on them, whether it's eradicating polio or going to the moon. We don't run from a challenge, we take it head on. To the incoming administration and Congress, I say to you, we need immediate public transparency. And this hearing is an important step on that journey. If we approach the UAP topic in the same way as we, as Americans, have met other challenges, we can restore our faith in our government institutions. Together, we can usher in a new era of accountable government and scientific discovery. I believe that we as Americans can handle the truth. And I also believe the world deserves the truth. Thank you, esteemed members of Congress, for your time today. It is profoundly appreciated by many.
Thank you. I ask unanimous consent for Representatives Ogles of Tennessee and Boebert of Colorado to be waived onto the subcommittee for today's joint subcommittee hearing for the purpose of asking questions. Without objection, so ordered. I would now like to recognize Mr. Schellenberger for his introductory remarks.
Chairwoman Mays, Chairman Grothman, Ranking Member Connolly, Ranking Member Garcia, members of the subcommittees, thank you for inviting my testimony. One of Congress's most important responsibilities is oversight of the executive branch in general and the military and intelligence community in particular. Unfortunately, there is a growing body of evidence that the U.S. government is not being transparent about what it knows about unidentified anomalous phenomena, and that elements within the military and the IC are in violation of their constitutional duty to notify Congress of their operations. President-elect Donald Trump and former President Barack Obama have both said that the government has information about UAPs that it has not released.
What?
Check this out.
There are other explanations for UAPs
we could do real quick.
that they represent.
I don't know what this is. This is probably a shroud or something.
Where am I coming up to? Where,
alternative theories, including those put forward by Arrow, are that UAPs are some kind of natural phenomena we don't yet understand.
You know
like
what?
ball
Here,
lightning
I'll just
plasma.
go up to it real
They
quick
could also be part
and
of
throw
some
down
of the
a
U.S. or foreign government weapons programs, such as drones, aircraft, balloons,
what you call it?
CGI, hoaxes, or birds.
Alter.
Whatever UAPs
Right.
are, Congress must be
Which way,
informed, as
where
must
did
the
you
people
go,
of the
though?
United
Like,
States. We have
on
a
top
right
of the
to know
mountain?
what UAPs are,
Yeah.
no matter what they are.
Oh, for sure.
However, we now have existing
I
and
just
former
saw
U.S.
a,
government officials who have told
a
Congress
road that kind of
Arrow and the
led
Pentagon
up here,
broken
so I was
the
like,
law
what
by
the
not
fuck is this trying to
revealing a
make me go
significant
to?
body of information about UAPs,
Then I found this.
including military intelligence databases.
And we have a
that have evidence
checkpoint,
of their existence
or not a
as
checkpoint,
physical
but a
craft.
question mark
One of those individuals is a
that
current
nobody
former
knows
US
about,
government
probably a
official
shroud
acting as a
route.
UAP whistleblower.
Right.
This person
And
has
I think
written a
this is the
report
way through it.
This is the report that says the executive branch has been managing UAP NHI issues without congressional knowledge, oversight, or authorization for some time, quite possibly decades. Furthermore, these individuals have revealed the name of an active and highly secretive DoD unacknowledged special access program, or USAP. The source of that document told me, that the USAP is a strategic intelligence program that is part of the U.S. military family of long-standing, highly sensitive programs dealing with various aspects of the UAP problem. The new UAP whistleblower claims that the U.S. military and IC database includes videos and images taken using infrared, forward-looking infrared, full-motion video,
Found a way
and still
kind of up.
photography.
Let's see.
The report that was just shared with Congress says Immaculate Constellation serves as a central or parent USAP that consolidates observations of UAPs by both tasked and untasked collection platforms. Immaculate Constellation includes high-quality imagery intelligence.
There's a
and measurement
village.
and signature intelligence of UAPs. The
Have to fight a whole village, bro.
The sources of this intelligence are a blend of directed and incidental collection capacities, capabilities, position in low Earth orbit, the upper atmosphere, as well as military and civilian aviation.
Not really a whole
altitudes and
village. It's
maritime
very tiny.
environments.
Actually, there's
The
probably a
report
few
to Congress
dudes.
details in detail various UAPs, including spheres, orbs, discs, saucers, ovals, triangles, boomerang, arrowhead, and irregular organic. The report describes various incidents found
fucking
in the
weird.
human
Irregular
intelligence databases.
organic?
One involved
Right.
orbs surrounding and enforcing an F-22
I know they're talking
These
about-
things are
control area.
living fucking machines?
In another
Yeah,
instance, the crew of
I
a
forget
Navy
what they-
aircraft carrier watched
what
a
is it,
small orange-red sphere rapidly descend from a high altitude of 100 to 200 yards directly
Biomechanics.
above the flight deck of a
Yeah,
of the CVN or aircraft carrier. And since my reporting on this Immaculate Constellation last month, another source came forward who told me that they saw a roughly
Adeptus
13-minute-long,
Mechanicus.
high-definition, full-color video of a white
Living
orb
fucking
UAP
machine.
coming out of the ocean approximately 20 miles off the coast of Kuwait.
Whoa.
It was filmed from a helicopter. Then halfway through the video, the person
fucking
said
stuttered
the
the
orb
fuck
is
out
joined
for a
by
minute.
another
Everything
orb that
did,
briefly
yeah.
comes into the
Like,
frame
what the fuck
from
was
the
that
left
about? Did
before
the internet
rapidly
just
moving
stutter?
again out of the frame.
Everything on the
I
internet
don't
just
Discovered
stutter
the
or
video
what?
is Zipper, the secure internet protocol router network,
I don't
which
fucking
the
know.
DoD uses to
That was
transmit
wild.
classified information. A leading UAP
We had a glitch in the
researcher who
matrix,
utilizes
something
the Freedom
changed.
of Information Act to
Oh,
find
there
out
you
what the
are.
government knows.
I see you.
John Greenwald told
Hi.
me last year
How
that
you
the U.S.
doing?
government had been increasingly denying his,
Uh-oh.
his request for
Yeah,
UAP information. He has been doing FOIA requests
motherfucker.
for 27 years and has an archive
Yeah,
of 3
this has
million
got to be a
pages.
shroud route.
The government has for decades denied any interest in UFOs, he told me, but the documents that he has assembled
these
show that
bones?
behind the scenes it was
No,
a
I
completely
don't- oh, yeah,
different
it's
story.
Liam.
Contrary to the
Yeah, it's
hopes
a
of many
shroud route.
advocates of transparency, the
All right.
government has been
All right.
restricting more information since
I'm
the
gonna
leak of
eat
3
up.
UAP videos in 2017. The DoD organization Arrow has been labeling many documents with a B7 exemption.
This is what I
Greenwald
did
says
when I
does not
shot
make
the
any
one that
sense.
was like across
They're
the
stating that
valley.
anything Arrow does
I just kept
is
doing
involved in
this
law enforcement investigation,
till it went away.
which allows Arrow to not release it. Greenwald says that the DoD has denied the existence of a UAP and ATIP-related records on multiple occasions, only to acknowledge them after.
Yeah, I'll go in with my axe and I'll try to just
Yeah.
take it
Oh,
out.
yeah, we can. Dude, they're like level 3. Cut that tree down. I got this.
Seems strange
Yeah.
that they had 3 and only those 3, but other requests have been filed by the Black Vault, that's on Greenwald's group, to seek out more places UAPs might be hiding.
There it is.
Then in September 2022,
Fuck
the Navy
yeah.
admitted that the UAP-related videos and photographs existed, but denied the request in full for their release, saying that the requested videos contain sensitive information that are classified
Like
and
that
exempt from
nest.
disclosure. The DoD will deny things on a Monday
Very
and admit
nice.
to it on a Friday, said Greenwald.
We're good.
He said the government can and does release videos that protect
Well, that was
secret
quick.
methods of capturing it. They fall back on the sensitive platform excuse a lot, he said. However, the on-screen information can be blurred and scrubbed. The metadata can be removed. I'll show you this example here. This is a presentation from the UATP task force. This is completely absurd. It's
No, we can do
nuts,
that one.
this
Show 'em
level
that.
of
Follow the
censorship,
melody.
of redaction on a
That is
document.
the waypoint.
It shows the redaction of how many reports they've collected.
We're still
for
gonna
how
be
many
taking a
years.
walk.
2 of the
But
3
let's go back
potential
to base real
explanations are
quick.
blacked out. The Pentagon, the intelligence
And just
community is treating us
empty
like
out all their shit.
children. It's time
Yeah.
for us to know the truth about this. I think that we can handle it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would now like to recognize Mr. Gold for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairwoman Mace, Chairman Groffman, Ranking Members Connolly and Garcia, Representative Moskowitz, and distinguished members of both subcommittees. I'm grateful to all of you, as well as your intrepid staff, for the opportunity to testify, and would like to begin by discussing courage. Courage is what it takes to tackle this
Courage.
topic, and courage in the face of
It's
adversity
courage.
is what I see in front
Okay.
of me beside
Courage,
me,
nothing
and
else.
behind me.
We're not
For
talking
my
about aliens.
introduction,
We're
I'm
talking about
currently the
courage.
Chief Growth Officer at Redwire
Right.
Space and have had several leadership positions at NASA. That being said, I want to be clear that I'm speaking exclusively on my own behalf and not for Redwire, NASA, or any other organization. However, I am here today to speak out for science. Science requires data, which should be collected without bias or prejudice.
So you're
Yet,
trying to sell
whenever
this
the
up too
topic
damn
of
much right
UAP
here.
arises,
All right.
those who wish to explore the phenomena are often confronted with resistance and ridicule. For
I'm gonna
example,
take this
members
workbench
of the
with
NASA
me,
UAP
just
independent
because.
study team, particularly
Oh,
those in
yeah, I put that in
academia,
there
were
by
mocked
accident.
and
Shit.
even threatened
Yep,
for
I'll take it
simply
with.
having the temerity to engage in the study of UAP.
All right, I
Our
am ready
best
when you
tool
are.
for unlocking the mystery of UAP is science, but we cannot conduct a proper inquiry if the stigma is so overwhelming
Stigma.
that just daring to be part of a NASA research team elicits such a vitriolic response. Therefore, one of the most important actions that can be taken relative to exposing the truth of UAP is to combat
Yeah, I'm pretty well
stigma.
ready. I think I'm
And
gonna
this is where I
take a
believe
pee
that
before we
NASA
start
can be
all of
eminently
this.
helpful.
But yeah, let me
The
get
NASA
back
brand is
downstairs.
synonymous with hope,
I'm gonna jump into
optimism, and
the
credibility.
Ancient Spire
If you were
Rebel
to
with
take a walk
Fast
down the
Travel.
National Mall,
Okay.
you would immediately see the NASA logo on T-shirts, hats, and bumper stickers. Few federal agencies enjoy this kind of popularity.
Okay.
I've never seen anyone wearing an Office of Personnel Management T-shirt, which is why NASA could play such an influential role. Specifically, NASA could, with relatively little cost and
Specifically?
effort, host symposia on UAP.
All right, I'm gonna
Even
use the
just
bathroom real quick. I'll be right
participate in
back.
Existing panels examining
right.
the topic. NASA personnel stepping forward and participating in such discussions would make a powerful statement to the scientific community that UAP should be taken seriously and researched accordingly. In regard to research, NASA has vast archives, much of which may contain important UAP data. Again, for relatively little cost and effort, NASA could create an AI or ML algorithm that could search the agency's archives for anomalous phenomena. I suspect that such an effort would not only result in information that will help us to understand UAP, but could result in data that will assist in other areas of scientific inquiry, such as anomalous weather or meteorite activity. Beyond its existing archives, NASA could act as a clearinghouse for civilian and commercial UAP data. During my work on the UAP independent study team, it quickly became evident that there is no clear or well-publicized process for civilian pilots to report UAP sightings. The stigma associated with UAP hampers the number of pilots that would report such phenomena, but even for those who overcome the stigma, I believe the current FAA guidance is largely unknown and poorly understood. In order to effectively collect UAP data, the independent study team recommended the use of NASA's Aviation Safety Reporting System, or ASRS. This system, which is administered by NASA and funded by the FAA, provides a confidential means for the reporting of safety violations in a voluntary and non-punitive manner. Over 47 years, the ASRS has collected nearly 2 million reports. ASRS is the perfect tool to collect UAP data, which could then be collated by NASA and shared with the public at large. Leveraging ASRS could create a treasure trove of UAP data, potentially hundreds of thousands of reports, supporting this hearing's goal of exposing the truth. And I'm grateful to our two co-chairs and other members who have already incorporated this idea into proposed legislation.
I love
At this
Laffy Taffies.
hearing, and as others have
sweet
demonstrated,
as shit,
the
but-
UAP issue is justifiably dominated by national security and defense. However, I would urge the subcommittees to keep in mind the numerous ways that NASA and the FAA,
All right, what
as well
up?
as commercial activities in the air,
All
in
right,
space,
so-
and in the water, can generate a
at
massive
your map.
amount
Bree
of
says
valuable
hi.
data on anomalous
Hey, Bree.
phenomena. I
said-
cannot help but be
he said hi.
excited by the potential for such an endeavor since
Sup,
scientific
bruv?
discovery is driven by anomalies. It's the existence and study of anomalies that led to the
at
theory
your
of
map real quick.
relativity,
All
quantum
right, hold
mechanics,
on.
and nearly all of humanity's
Yep.
scientific breakthroughs. This is
We're
why the
heading
study
here
of UAPs
first,
should be
'cause we gotta go
embraced,
north of
since
that.
whatever is
That is the
occurring,
passage to the
chance
Blackmire we have to
garner
head
new
through.
knowledge
Yeah,
should
okay,
never be
right.
ignored. We must be thorough.
All right, so
in
we're
collecting
going that way.
information,
All right.
fearless
Right.
in making conclusions, and open to following
gonna
the
go out
data,
this way.
no matter how
All right.
mundane or extraordinary the
Hey,
results
Bree.
may be. I began this
Go get that
testimony by
charger out of
praising
my
the Joint
room.
Subcommittee members for
The
their
wireless
courage,
one.
and I will end by echoing
Oh,
that
damn, this
sentiment.
ain't gonna work. All
As
right,
the saying
I gotta-
goes, the truth is out there. We just need to be bold enough and brave enough to face it.
Oh, this is.
Thank you. Thank you all. I will now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questioning. I have a lot of questions, and I have a lot of witnesses. So I would just ask if it's yes or no to please just tell
Dude,
me
this
yes
is
or
rapid
no.
fire
If
questions.
it requires more than that,
Listen to this shit.
be very succinct because I would like to go down the line and ask as many questions as possible.
Hold on, I'll wait till you're ready with that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna have her plugged it. Yeah, hold on. Here, plug this into the computer. USB in that top. Yep. There you go. Now you can plug it. Okay, go ahead.
Listen to these questions because the same dude that's like, we need transparency. Listen to his answers.
So
Right.
For the Admiral this morning first, former DoD official Chris Mellon reached out to you about satellite imagery from 2017 that depicts a UAP. What were the dates in 2017 when this occurred?
I can't share with you the details, ma'am, but I can do it in a closed setting, and I can also tell you the agency that wrote a report on it.
Okay, so who has the imagery?
I can tell you that in a closed setting.
Can you describe what was
Photos
depicted in
working,
the satellite imagery? Just a description.
It was a UAP, ma'am.
That's it. No other description.
The
He's
the term that the analysts used, they called it the button. It was a disc-shaped
Yeah.
object.
Yeah, he can't
Okay,
say
where
shit.
was it?
That's what he's
I
pretty much
can't tell you
saying.
that, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Elizondo, you stated in your testimony
He's like, we should
that,
be fully
quote,
clear about
"Advanced
everything. I can't tell you
technologies
shit."
Not by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe, end quote. If these technologies are not made by any government, who's making them? Private companies, or are you implying they are crafted by a non-human intelligence?
Well, ma'am, that's precisely why we're here. The problem is that, temporally speaking, over decades, not just the last 10 years, to put this in perspective, when
Are these private companies you're implying, or is this non-human intelligence?
it may be both.
Okay.
When it comes to Blue Force Technologies, I would not be able to discuss.
Okay.
ma'am, unless-
Are you read into secret
you moving?
UAP crash retrieval programs?
No. Are you going that way?
We would have to have a conversation.
yeah.
in a
Oh, I
closed
didn't
already
even know
picked
you
up
were
the
already.
fucking
signed
loom.
documentation
Oops.
Yeah, I
3
grabbed
years
another
ago
loom on the
that
way.
restricts my
My bad.
ability to discuss specifically.
Sorry, I'm
crash
also looking to
retrievals.
possibly order some
I
food
submitted
here
for my look
soon.
through the DOPSR process, which took
Okay.
a year it to
For
be
me and the
reviewed.
little girl. All right, I'm
those
heading your way.
is what I was
Going out
told
there.
I'm allowed to talk about.
Has the government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Were they designed to
It's
identify
best
and
right
reverse
now
engineer
to not
alien
fuck
craft?
around
Yes or
so
no?
much in the spider cave.
Does the U.S. government have any reverse?
Because they got some massive
or is it a
spiders in there
question
that
about
do damage
retrieval
past your
programs?
block.
Do
Right.
any U.S. contractors have
Not
the
a good
same?
idea.
I
Right.
would prefer to address that in a closed session, ma'am.
Okay.
Just
And
stay
you're
on
Of
the
course, a
road.
closed
government
session
employees
about
who've been
shit that I'm
injured by
telling you that
UAPs
we
placed
should all
on leave
know,
and
but
receiving government compensation
Right.
for their injuries. Is that
oh,
correct?
what
is
the fuck?
correct.
How can the government deny we have
Oh, well.
recovered craft if they're paying people because they've been injured by recovered
Right.
craft?
Ma'am,
Exactly.
that's a great question. That's why I think we're here again, because I've seen the documentation by the U.S. government for several of these individuals who have sustained injuries as a result of a UAP incident.
It's a crazy idea, right?
Oh,
The
give me a sec.
hypocrisy and the logic. Okay, Mr. Schellenberger, I'm going to say it again to be very clear. Immaculate Constellation. What's its mission and how are they funded?
Its mission is to, as I stated, its mission is to
Make sure
it's
you don't
it's
know
an
anything.
unacknowledged special access
we go.
program. Its mission is
All right, I'm
to
here.
document UAPs.
Okay, and do you, for your story and your report, do you have more than one credible source?
I do.
Sourcing, okay. And then why do you believe your sources to be credible? How do you judge the veracity of the documentation you've been provided about this program?
I checked the sources, and they are who they say they are. They are current or former government officials. I wanted to also add that I did not specify that they were Defense Department employees. I didn't specify the agency nor the gender.
Would they have included non-government employees, people that aren't employed by the government?
These are. I'm comfortable saying that these are
Sorry about that.
government.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah, I'm here.
Previously
Right by you.
government employees.
I had to get
Any of
my
them currently employed by a private contractor? or
I
private
scraped my pipes
contractors?
and everything.
I'd rather not. Say.
Right.
Okay.
And got
What's the key
most of the
takeaway?
resin out.
Just a few seconds about the
and
Immaculate
I got
Constellation
cleaned
document
out
you
the
provided us
cleaned the
today.
tools and
I think
everything
that
else
what the
like that.
American people need to know is that
Right.
the U.S. military and intelligence community are
Yeah,
seeing
I had to
a
bake
huge
my pipe
amount
because I
of
couldn't.
visual
The resin,
and other
the amount of resin
information,
in
still
that just
photos,
like
video
balled up
photos,
right
other
there.
sensor,
Right.
It was too much, and I
information, they
couldn't
have
just
for a
like
very long time, and it's not
move it
those
around to
fuzzy
kind of make it
photos and
a
videos that we've been
string to
given.
come
There's
out.
Very clear,
High
So I
res.
just
high
baked
resolution.
the shit
How
out of
many-
it
how
at
many
250 for
visuals,
about 20
graphics,
minutes, and
videos,
it dried it up.
photos?
I mean, I've
Mhm.
been told hundreds.
So now I
maybe
gotta
thousands.
break
I
it
mean,
down and
I
get it
also
out of
wanted
there.
to say, because there was some conversation around
Yeah.
concern around the revealing of these materials, revealing the source collections, but some of these are shot from helicopters using normal videos of oceans. I just think that's absurd that somehow you're going to be revealing some secret U.S. technology by revealing that you've
All right, you
photographed
ready?
orbs off the coast of Kuwait.
Okay,
Yep.
8 seconds. Mr. Gold, did the NASA independent study team get briefed on what you call OSAP?
All right, where you
Very
at?
quickly.
There
I flagged the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System
You ain't gotta
Application
worry about that
Program
thing.
to our chair
Yep.
and our DFO. We did not get briefed. But I believe it is definitely worth looking into. That was probably the largest UAP review effort ever, and I think
Okay.
produced a lot of interest data, including revealing Nimitz. I don't know if my fellow witness
And he
Lou,
flags
even
along the
Yeoman's
way,
work on it,
too.
might want to comment.
Nice.
Okay.
You see the
All right.
the
I'm
breakthrough
going
flower?
to turn to Mr.
Pick it up.
Moskowitz, who will be recognized for 5 minutes of questioning.
Yeah, I just had like 50 of. Oh, whoa! I just had like 50 of them that I put in one of the workshops at the place in my map.
About UAPs, science, data collection, stigma. A lot of non-believers
This
in all
dude's
this
a
would just
dick.
ask a very simple question. Why? Why is it so hard?
Why?
Right? Like, why are people, anytime they ask, why are they always thwarted? Why are they always judged?
Okay, we need
why
to get
is they
this back.
always have misinformation spread?
me
Why
a
is there
meal.
always retribution? Why is it always met with an ear? What's the why? If it doesn't exist, why is there such a problem?
I think if you go through the history of science, Representative, it is always difficult for breakthroughs and new information, regardless of whether it's UAP or any other kind of discovery. And in science, we're
All right, we
supposed
need to
to
stick
be
to
open,
this
but when
side
you
here.
break with the
All right.
orthodoxy of what's believed, whether it's Galileo saying that the Earth doesn't rotate or the Earth rotates around the sun doesn't rotate around the Earth, it's always
He's like, or
challenging
whatever
new
shit, 'cause
beliefs.
I have no
And the more
idea, I'm just saying.
extraordinary those discoveries and the more extraordinary those new beliefs, it's very difficult. So I think this is natural. There's natural conservatism that when it comes to science, but this issue in particular.
Yeah, because
has
you
been
want to
very
say people
difficult
can
where,
chop their
again,
dicks off and become
even to
girls.
attempt to
Right,
study it
exactly.
becomes problematic.
I mean,
Whenever
there is
hearing
that natural
like this,
conservatism, bitch.
every
Yeah, when you guys start denying reality and all that, and
every
like saying
video,
shit like that.
documentaries. I was privileged to be a part of something Dan Fair is putting together.
Trust the
Many of us have
science, okay?
interviewed
The
before.
science says that
Documentary
shit
30,
hurts. No, it
different
doesn't.
government officials.
Science
Every
says that
brick in
hole's
the
gonna
wall
close
will get
up.
us
So what the fuck are
closer
you doing?
to getting to the truth.
I appreciate that. Mr. Elizondo, do I have that correct?
Sir.
I'm a recovering lawyer, so I'm going to put my hat on for a second. You said you signed a document. Love that. Who gave that to you?
The U.S. government, sir.
Okay, you have a copy of it?
It is stored in a skiff right now. I do not have possession of it. The U.S. government does.
What department of the U.S. government gave you this document?
I will say the Department of Defense. Unfortunately, I can't say in this forum much more than that.
You specifically said the document said you can't talk about crash well, you can't talk about Fight Club if there's no Fight Club.
Oh God, dude.
Correct.
Okay, I'm just making an observation.
This is always their
That
arguments for
document
anything.
that you signed, that you said exists, specifically said you can't talk about crash retrieval.
Correct, sir. It was a limitation on what because already I.
Like, just say it like that.
Publicly about the topic.
Why has he got to be
the
so
document said
gay?
You can continue saying X, Y, Z, but you cannot
Well,
discuss
'cause he's
the
a-
topic
When
of
you
crash
give
retrieval.
me,
Sleazy
give me
little
the
bastard.
atmosphere
This is
of
a gay
signing this
lord.
document. You're in a room by
Well,
yourself.
that too, yeah.
I'm in a skiff with a security officer, sir.
Just one-on-one. Anybody else?
There may have been an assistant as well. It was in a skiff within a Department of Defense facility.
Give me your background real quick.
My background is I went to school to study microbiology and immunology, entered into the U.S. Army, and after a very short stint in military intelligence, I became a counterintelligence special agent. As a
You got a
civilian,
basement
later on I
here.
became a special
Oh,
agent in charge,
okay.
running investigations in
Did
counterterrorism.
not see that. Where is that?
and
Oh,
counterespionage
hold on.
primarily, with some experience in counterinsurgency.
Where
and
the fuck
counternarcotics.
is that?
And
There
then
it is. Okay.
2009 timeframe, I came back to the Pentagon after a tour with the Director of National Intelligence.
That be it.
I quickly became
Yeah,
part
that'd
of
be
the
it.
program that was
All right.
originally called OSAP that evolved into the program now called ATIP, which is where those videos that
ATIP.
we now see
Oh, yo,
go
ma.
fast, begin where to clear. That was part of our effort, sir.
Right. So you're not some conspiracy theorist. You actually have a legitimate background.
Oh my God.
Well, sir, I'm certainly not a conspiracy theorist. I'm fact-based, just say facts.
So when you're in this room, I want to paint the picture for everybody. You're in this room.
Just
you're by
has to be
yourself,
that
you're in a
guy.
skip, You're handed a document. How long is the document?
It's about a page front and back.
He laid
So
down on the
basically, you have
bed.
some things they call trigraphs.
I didn't mean to.
I know.
How long
Shit's
were you
hilarious,
given
though.
to sign the document?
Hey, this is where
As long
we
as I know,
stayed
sir,
that one
And
time.
what if you didn't sign it?
Because
Well,
yeah, we jumped
I
out of
suspect
here.
there'd be
Oh, yeah.
repercussions. I would
Yeah.
have
Because we
access
were
to certain
surrounded.
information.
Was a law? Were you allowed to conduct, ask
You
a
ready
lawyer,
for this?
or weren't allowed
Yep.
to talk? Weren't allowed to ask for a lawyer
Alright.
to review the document?
It was an option, but they probably wouldn't have allowed me to because the document itself was pretty explicit about it. You have to be putting me in
Let's
a
say
I'm trying
hi.
to thread the needle here.
Oh, I'm always high.
There are certain documents that we have in the U.S. government
Right, come on.
that allow people to have access to certain programs. Whether it's a special, I'm going to be very generic here, whether it's a special access program or controlled access program, SAP, CAP, what.
How many people have to sign this document?
It depends how many people are going to get
Oh,
access to
big
that
bitch.
information, sir.
Yeah.
Already?
Okay. Last question, Doctor. Real quick, can you tell us about the Omaha incident in greater detail? I've read your background, right? Some people would label you as a member of the deep state, since you worked in government for a long period of time. But can you tell us more about that incident? You've written a lot about that.
Bitch.
I wrote a lot about incidents like it, Congressman, but that specific
And heal
incident involved the USS Omaha, the littoral combat ship of the U.S. Navy operating off Southern
I gotta
California.
find a whole bunch
I
of
don't
life leak
remember
shit.
the exact date. It was
That is a
within the last
fucking-
decade.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
know.
was saving my ass on the other one.
I need to get some of that, too.
UAP, again, something that was aloft but had no observable exhaust or control surfaces. So it was something that couldn't be explained.
Oh,
and then
what
they
the
saw
fuck?
it enter the water from
the
the
fuck?
atmosphere and going through the air-sea interface,
The
and so
fuck?
thus exhibiting transmedium travel.
Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you. I'll now recognize Mr. Grothman for 5 minutes of questioning.
Yeah, we'll start with Mr. Gallaudet. During a previous UAP hearing, Navy Commander David Fravor discussed the TikTok object engaged in 2040.
Tic Tac
Remember the
object,
incident,
not
the
TikTok object, you
incident?
dummy.
Yes, sir.
That's almost 20 years ago, right?
Yes, sir.
It's been said there are more videos, documents, and reports related to this incident. Do you believe the information regarding the TikTok incident should be available to all members of
He
Congress?
did it again.
And in your
Yep.
expertise, what reason would the Department of Defense
You
possibly
big dummy.
have for not releasing information that's over
This
20
is your
years old?
taxpayer dollars at work.
Thank you, Congressman. I don't think there's any good reason to withhold information and important data, especially of national security concern from Congress.
Well, what would they say?
I will speculate, sir, that they don't want to share that kind of information because it reveals weaknesses in our ability to monitor and protect our airspace.
We try and break this whole
In your written
motherfucker down.
testimony, you claim last year's UAP hearing before this oversight committee confirmed that UAP-related information is, well, it's not only being withheld, but that elements of the government are engaging in
It worked.
disinformation campaign.
But
to
you only
include
got 6
personal
fucking wood
attacks
logs for that.
Designed to credit.
That's terrible.
UAP whistleblowers.
Right.
Could you elaborate on that statement a little?
All right. We need to
Yes,
keep
sir.
moving here.
Earlier this year, I met with the DoD's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, and what I thought would be a 90-minute
pinning him from
meeting
here
with
for a little bit?
leadership turned out to be an
Well, somebody
hours-long
fucking shot
influence
it.
operation on me, where I was.
Who the fuck is shooting him?
They attempted to convince me of the validity of the very flawed and error-ridden historical records report.
Oh.
In addition,
The fuck?
they
Oh, we got a
they
grenadier
tried to
down
have me
here.
question
And a
very
green
valid
bitch.
UAP reports like the
Literally
Tic Tac
right
incident.
below us.
And even coming to stating possibly that the Tic Tac was American technology. And then, of course, if you ask David Fravor or Alex Dietrich, the two witnesses, the issue was otherwise. And then, and they also cast discredit on various UAP whistleblowers
Where-
and witnesses
where are they?
to question their
Oh, you're
validity
fighting
and
them?
credibility as
Yep,
witnesses.
of course.
Okay.
God damn it.
Mr. Elizondo.
It should not have beaten me. I
Right.
just couldn't get,
Close
dude.
You're familiar with the recent drone incursion
Come
over
up and
Lang
get
Air
me.
Force Base?
Fuck that
The
guy.
owners
Okay.
of these drones remain unclear. The U.S. military
Where'd he
has
go?
not been able to give
Oh.
us in Congress an answer. Given your experience with the Department
You
of
went
Defense
down
and the
again.
intelligence community, how frequently are UAP sightings over military installations? And secondly, I suppose hypothetically you could have incursions over just, say, regular airports. Is it obvious these incursions are more likely over military facilities than just a random airport out there?
Yes, sir. There's definitely enough data to suggest that there is certainly some sort of relationship between sensitive U.S. military installations, also some of our nuclear equities, and also some of our Department of Energy sites. There is a long historical record that some of your colleagues may have documentation.
Hold
that
on a second.
demonstrates This is not a new trend. This has been going on for decades, and that information's been obfuscated. Unfortunately, from folks like you in this committee. And I think that's problematic because ultimately, at the end of the day, we have a significant situation here. We have something that can enter into U.S. airspace completely with no attribution.
And how long has this been going on?
Sir, decades. And there's information that will hopefully be entered into the
Can you
record.
think of any possible reason why they can't release any information they have on something, say, 15 or 20 years old?
Sir, if I could echo my colleague here, Admiral Gallaudet, I think one of the big issues that we have in the intelligence community,
Come on,
Department
you
of Defense,
dumb
we don't want to
bastard.
broadcast any potential vulnerabilities or weaknesses in our national defense systems
fucking healed.
or on intelligence
All right, I
collection
got you.
platforms. Therefore, when you have a conversation where you address a problem for which there is no solution,
All right.
it
Heal
makes that a
yourself
very
up.
uncomfortable
He
conversation
fucking
to have.
healed all the way.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll switch to Mr. Schellenberger. The primary reason you're here today is because you published an article on the news publication that you own called Public, right? Alleging that a new unnamed government whistleblower has come forward asserting that a highly classified program exists dedicated to recovery and reverse engineering of UAP technologies. Can you give us what specific evidence you have, or that your source provided you to substantiate the claims about the existence of the Immaculate Constellation program?
Well, you have the report in front of you now, so you can see it for yourself. I checked the report, and I did not find it based on existing cases. It was new cases for me. I hadn't found anybody. So that answered for me that it was not obviously circular reporting, which is one of the big concerns in this space. I also had the name.
That makes
of
it
the
a lot
program
easier.
confirmed
Oh,
by more than one additional source. So yeah, and then of course I checked to make sure that the source was who they claimed to be.
Okay.
I should also say that when I said before it was this database, it is a much broader program, and that also includes human intelligence, and then, as you mentioned, the retrieval and the.
Any knowledge of what country these things originated in?
No.
I'm not
No,
yet.
I have no idea.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Fuck me.
Okay, I will now
God damn it.
recognize Mr. Burchett for
Seriously?
5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Chair Lady. I request unanimous consent to enter into the record documents provided to us regarding
All right, we
legacy
still got to move north.
programs and psychological operations. Lou Elizondo.
So ordered.
Also, want to thank my buddy Jeremy
There we go.
Corbell for
What the
documents
fuck?
and
Scavenger Gorger?
access to some
Gotta get up
whistleblowers.
high.
Whoa.
Mr. Elizondo, what is
Yeah.
your last position with the federal government?
Sir, I was the Director of National Program Special Unit and Staff managing a White House Special Access Program on behalf of the National Security Council.
How would you characterize UAPs?
Yeah, I'm gonna get this
Let's bring him
fucking.
outside.
Hold on, I'm getting this guy.
We are talking about
I need to get him. He's a fucking bomb thrower.
Outperform anything we have in
Dick.
our inventory. And if this was an
There we go.
adversarial technology, this would be an intelligence
Yeah, all right.
failure eclipsing that of 9/11 by an order of magnitude.
Start shooting him.
God damn it.
Department of Defense
Bow and arrow.
materials related to UAPs that you believe could be safely disclosed to the public without compromising national security.
Yes, sir, I do. I would
Fucking-
never,
Oh,
never
what the
try to endorse.
I was
providing
trying to
Hold on.
flip shit around, and it kept going in my goddamn inventory.
Oh, that sucks.
capability, but I do believe there's a lot of information regarding this topic. I've been very vocal about it that should be shared not only with the public, but most importantly, with members of Congress.
Are you familiar with my friend David Grush?
Okay.
Absolutely, sir. I had the privilege and honor of working with him myself several years ago at the U.S. Space Force.
Last year, as you know, he testified that the U.S. is running a multi-decade UAP
I could probably take
retrieval
this
and
guy here
reverse
soon.
engineering program. Do you agree with that?
Keep moving.
Are there UAP programs operating
He might be able to give me.
without proper congressional
Yeah, hold on.
oversight?
Yep, I already got his health pretty
What
low.
are they?
Unfortunately, sir, I would have to have that conversation.
Jump out, jump out. Nope. Get back
You
here.
said
Let
that.
my
A lot of
stamina
people are
get up a little
frustrated with
bit.
Those kind of answers, but we're asking
Hold on.
those kind of questions, so you all know what the heck we're up against. You also mentioned in your opening statement that the Pentagon's Public Affairs Office
Just
employs
no,
a
you
psychological
do this.
operations
Hold on.
officer as a singular point of contact for UAP-related inquiries.
Actually, a little bit longer. Chill there for a
That's a
minute.
great question. I would ask the county. There's a long history here of that individual providing misleading and false information to the public through various news outlets and media outlets in order to discredit this topic. I've personally been victim to it. We have the documentation to substantiate where this information has been absolutely accurate.
There he is.
That has been provided time and
Nice.
time again.
Level
Turns out that
17,
individual
fuck
was
yeah.
Also working with former leadership of Arrow at the time as well.
And we punish them by giving them multi-million dollars more than they ask for every year.
Hell yes.
Admiral Gallaudet, you mentioned in your opening statement on an email
Very
you received
nice.
from the operations officer of the Fleet Forces
All right,
Command
time to clean
regarding
up.
unknown objects almost colliding with U.S. military
But this
planes.
wasn't
Did you-
our
did
spot
anyone respond
to go
with
through,
knowledge
though.
of what the objects
Right.
were?
I received no response, sir.
Did the exercise get canceled?
The exercise did not get canceled.
God
Why
damn
do you
it.
think the commander of Fleet Forces operations officer never discussed the incident again?
Sir, I'm speculating because I didn't have an exchange with him, but I believed it to be part of a special access program, the information and the video, which we have known now it was. And he,
Damn it, I
he
need one
realized
more
he couldn't
skill
share
point.
that openly with the recipients of the email, and therefore the email was pulled
To get
from
that
everybody's
blink
account.
Again,
move.
tell us what happened to the email from the commander of Fleet Forces.
The day after I received it, and all the other recipients received it, which were all the subordinate commanders of U.S. Fleet Forces, so 1- and 2-star admirals, including strike group commanders. The email
Okay, so
was
we've cleaned this
wiped
out.
or deleted from our accounts.
Where
and
is?
no one talked about it.
All right.
There's no way
Have
to
you
get up there, though.
specifically had any
get up where?
experience with submersible objects?
Sir, I've not no personal experience.
To
but
get
I've
up to the
had,
second level.
Witnesses.
Like
Oh.
usually
on
there's some way
submarines
to,
come me
to
and say
grapple
they've
up there,
seen
or
Right,
on
that's
sonar
true.
data,
Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
yeah,
How would you
USOs.
how would
No,
you
certain-
okay, hold up.
characterize those, and how do they move?
The one instance
Oh,
that,
shit.
that I was
Well,
that
that's
was
not
revealed
it.
to me was in the 80s on a
let's see.
nuclear-powered submarine, a ballistic missile submarine, that the object exhibited the characteristics of a Russian torpedo in terms of its speed of movement and closing rate with the
Oh.
submarine, and then it slowed and
All right.
followed the submarine
let's get
slowly
the hell out of this
its-
town and
its
keep
wake,
moving north.
All
right, I'm down.
A period of minutes, and then rapidly exited the scene. Nothing that we know of, and technology-wise, could replicate that.
And the speed of these objects was faster than anything that we have. Or
Was
anybody
faster
else
than any
has that
motherfucking
was
thing I
in.
ever
Is that
saw,
correct?
dog.
Yeah, it
I need
was
some
on the
steam
order of a
underwater.
torpedo. So
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But as it exited, it
Well, I don't
Characterize-
exactly know how fast a torpedo is, but I expect it does better than my old outboard Scott Atwater, so I'll take that as a yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This guy.
Have you experienced any experience with the all
There you
domain
go.
anomaly resolution
Well,
office Arrow?
the storm
Like,
response
what
I
the-
mentioned previously, and I have.
I was
met
just
with
gonna
them.
cut through it.
Okay. You heard Mr. Alexander describe
see.
psychological operations.
Oh.
Those
We still need to
contacting the Department of
go
Defense about UAPs.
to the
You
west a
mentioned
bit
similar
with it, though,
influence
to go the
operation
right
by
way.
Arrow. Why are federal agencies invested in running information operations about UAPs if they do not exist?
So where are you going?
Yes, sir.
Over that fence?
But I'll make a statement
Go-
on,
no,
on Arrow's
to the west.
behalf. They have new leadership. The office has reached out to me to meet again, and I take that as a good faith effort, and we'll see where that goes.
Thank you, Chair Lady. I've run over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tennessee. I would now like to recognize Mr. Higgins.
Mr. Tennessee.
You're the king of Tennessee. Mr. Higgins, you're recognized for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right.
Mr.
You need to do something
Elizondo,
about Trindade
Mr. Schellenberg
Aragua
knows
showing up
Yeah.
in fucking
in the
Tennessee now.
report that-
Right.
that we've been given for this hearing.
Before
That ain't gonna-
Tennesseans do stuff
I believe
about
Mr.
it.
Schellenberg, let me shift
I mean,
you
that
an
ain't gonna
author
turn
of
out
this-
if they
this
come outside
report.
those cities, though.
Right?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not the author.
Mr. Schellenberg, were you the author of this report? There's
No, I
no
was not.
name on it.
No.
They can't
do you know
help
the
inside
author?
the city because
One
cities
time
have
to drink
How would
a
you
little bit of
estimate
banned
beer.
guns.
that, madam
Oh,
or
yeah.
gentleman, the author?
The person is a current or former U.S. government employee.
And
Yeah, we do need to go
it
this
states
way
here that this
around
the
that
public
because that's the
version
passage to the Black
of
Mire.
the author's report.
Right.
Yes.
Before
So,
we do that, how about
Where
we
might
put
one
down,
find the non-public
wanna
version
put
of
one
the
down
author's
here?
report?
I don't know the
yeah,
answer to
and
that.
go back?
Would that
All
be
right,
the
hold on. I think I'm
Department
about
of
to order
Defense?
this food
I
real
don't know.
quick for us to. What do we? Well, I'll wait to order.
But you do know the
I need to wait till we
author.
get a break
You know
going.
what the-
Well,
what the
just so I
author's
can grab it
sources
though.
were?
The authors.
We'll
Oh,
do
we
some
can
of
always
this.
just have a break going on if you it
these
comes, you know.
databases.
Right. That is
United
true.
Consulate.
Let me go
But
ahead and
you
order it
expressed
now.
some confidence in the
I'm heading back to the
sources
base,
I
though.
would.
All right,
earlier
right on.
in
I do.
testimony. You expressed confidence. So do you know those sources?
I do.
Are they within the Department of Defense?
I can't say.
You can't say or you won't say?
I won't say.
Okay, why not?
Because I protect my sources, and I think the
But
reason.
you're not naming them. It's a big department. Many of
Ooh,
us on my
that was a
side of the
fucking mean
aisle
ass
would say it's
burp.
far too
From
big.
under.
So
From down under.
you're talking about the Department of Defense
You
sources.
see, this
from
is
within the
something that
Department of
really gets
Defense?
me about
I'm not
Like,
waiting to.
he's not asking
reduce the
for your
potential
sources.
universe
He's
of my-
asking where
my
your
sources might
sources
be.
get their
Okay, moving
information.
on. In this report, Mr. Elizondo
Right, which is true, but that's like even hard.
referenced,
Like, I don't know.
several types of
I mean,
You gotta
you-
vet that
allegedly
information,
alien
though. You
craft,
know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
possibly
yeah.
alien craft or unknown aerial phenomena, what we used to call UFOs, or describe spheres and orbs, discs and saucers, oval or tic-tac, triangular shape, boomerang and arrowhead, and irregular or organic. Mr. Elizondo, is that
Organic.
summarized
That's
to
what
you?
blows my
The
fucking
types of
mind, dude.
craft that we're
Right.
discussing today?
I agree.
Sir, that is a general morphology, historically speaking, of many
Okay,
UAP.
so those descriptions,
hold on,
is
did
a
I
very different craft.
set up
Is it
and
your, is it your assessment that they would come of different?
Oh, I got
different
one.
origin?
Is this a like a
It's
good
possible.
wand or something? I
It's
got a
also
root
could be in
staff.
sense a matter of utility. And let me
15 to
just state for the
20.
record, I never
The
read
legendary
report
one. Ooh,
or the article that Mr.
Well,
Schellenberger
hold
put
on.
out.
that might be pretty good
This
for
is a
magic
point.
for
We're
other
just
people. You know.
referencing it
Yes, sir.
for
Well, the
descriptive
wand is.
purposes for the
I
American
mean,
people.
everybody should basically be
Mr.
running with a wand.
Schellenberger,
Right, but this isn't a wand. It's a
in
staff.
this report, it's striking to me.
This is one you have to
okay.
actually use
that-
spells for.
regarding the descriptions of
I don't know. I've never,
experiences.
fucked around with them.
Yeah, I
with
haven't either.
various
Corrosive daggers.
Several of them include biological effects.
Is
and
that better than the
several
ones
do
you gave
not.
me?
Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so spheres and
I need to
orbs
come back to the place real
triangular
quick. Actually,
craft,
first. Yeah.
and irregular or organic craft
Right,
include
hold on.
some descriptions of biological effects, including feelings of unease.
Yeah, but Gabe, you must be like a pro with
electronic
this
device
game. What's up?
malfunction,
What's up, Preston?
long-term psychological effects such as anxiety or insomnia.
Look
have
at
been
that fucking
noted.
wicked
Feeling of
cape,
being
bro.
watched, a shared awareness with the triangle craft, and
Ooh,
under the
plus
irregular and
40%
organic
shroud
craft,
time filled with
biological
burnings.
effects include physical sensations of warmth or cold and unexplained smells and psychological
Oh, I
distress.
think I have to go to
So
character.
these are very specific descriptions
Jesus Christ, though.
of the reactions of human beings, which allegedly
No,
have been noted from.
no, I don't care about the
from
shroud
a
time. I have
study,
like
a
life leech
report.
rings and shit.
All of those
And then 1%
experiences would have
health
been-
regener-
would have
yeah,
been
I'm
described by
keeping
the
those.
sources that the author used.
not sure I
Motherfuckers are
understand.
actually
It's a
feeling
very
sick
broad
when they come across
description of
UAPs.
biological
Like,
effects. And it's-
literally
it's
feeling sick to
striking
their
me
stomach.
that they are
Which is
present
crazy.
with relation to some types of craft, but
Right.
absent in others. This would require a great deal of research and study. Can you explain that?
My understanding is that this is the database is very large.
Directed
It
energy weapon?
includes both the images, the videos, the still images, as well as the human intelligence, the reports, the raw data from individuals having these experiences. So, in answer
Or
to your
maybe just
question,
a
yeah, I
reaction
mean,
to
I think we're
whatever the
looking
fuck
at
they're
very
using as a
large
fuel
amount of
source.
data collected over many decades.
And that data is held by the Department of Defense?
Well, I will say that after I published, I was
All right, we're
told
getting
that
up
this
there toward that
program
black mire.
that the
Oh yeah, we still
USAP
got a little bit to get
was
to it though.
actually,
Okay.
managed by
We'll
the
go
Department
back
of
up
Yeah, I
there
was
in a
just
little bit.
breaking
the White
here
House.
to
Yeah.
clear
But
your
that's a
shit.
single source.
Yep,
and
I'm gonna do that
I
here in
don't
a
have
minute.
multiple sources to
Let me,
verify that.
Thank you, sir. I did my best to trick an
That's
answer
a
out of you.
damage 32. Damn.
I was partially successful, Madam Chair. I yield.
Thank you. I now recognize Mr. Frost for 5 minutes of questions.
God
Thank
damn,
you,
this
Madam
dick.
Chair. In addition to serving on this committee, the Oversight Committee, I also serve on the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, where we often discuss how essential data and evidence are used in science and used at departments such as NASA. During a hearing, NASA Administrator Nelson affirmed the importance of NASA in helping us to understand UAP. Mr. Gold, if the government doesn't have the data it needs on UAP because, say, someone who saw something
this is a two-handed. Yeah, I don't want that. I'm good
stigma,
on that. I need to go to the storage.
etc.
Work some shit out real quick.
Or maybe there's just not good systems in place. How are we supposed to ultimately figure out what's going on?
Yeah, thank you for the question. And let me compliment Administrator Nelson that there wouldn't have been a UAP independent study team if it wasn't for his leadership and courage. We're talking about data and where we can get data from. As I described, NASA has whole archives of data, much of which I believe will likely have information that will help inform UAP. We need only look. And again, in an era with AI and ML, we can relatively quickly
NASA has
so I think it's something we should
hundreds
encourage NASA
upon
to do.
hundreds
However,
of
per Chairman
petabytes
Grothman's
of data.
comment about UAP focusing on national security sites, I believe there's something, sir, that you may have heard of called sensor bias. That because we've got more cameras, more monitoring of national security, we don't know how extensive UAP activity may be over civilian areas. And this is to the second part of your question where we're not collecting the data. We're not collecting sufficient data from pilots. We're not collecting sufficient data from civilian and commercial activities. And this is, again, where ASRS, I think, could substantially change that, get the data out there, and allow us to do good science.
Thank you. I mean, on the data, you know, I'm a really big proponent of transparency. But
pretty much, I
there's
think we're about there.
that we have to have in government on transparency as well. I mean, last year, NASA appointed a director of UAP research in response to the recommendation by the independent study team.
Should be good.
In the final report, there's a quote, despite numerous accounts and visuals, the absence of consistent, detailed, and curated observations means we do not presently have the body of data needed to make definite and scientific conclusions about UAP. Can you just talk really quickly about
and also, by the way,
security
and by the way, anyone that is tuning in just now or whatever, I see if I have like 4 watchers now on Twitch. One of them is Preston, who is rocking some Enshrouded with us last night. I am watching the UFO or UAP hearing that happened. So is Rich on his channel. So that's why that's on. We just find it interesting and want to listen to it.
It's really kind of telling because they're pretty much saying that, it's real, but we can't tell you.
Right, exactly, yeah, which they always kind of do.
And if we're not gathering that, if we're not looking at it, then we can't bring NASA into the game and get to that good science that you need.
You know, it was about a year ago. I was touring a facility.
And Rich, you're live on the Stoopids play or what?
The Stoopids play over here on Rumble.
They said,
right on.
A company
STOOPIDS, by the way. That's double O. STOOPIDS.
And there was a few
that's my view of what we're doing together.
Yep, and I have it up on. I have the YouTube one going right now. So if nobody's following us on YouTube, that's the Stoopids play on YouTube as well.
I think probably the vast majority of UAP are drones, experimental aircraft.
All right, we got through that point.
Nice.
Which is, again, why I say if we review the data, I think we're
and you're both rocking the double knives. I got another set.
But there is a percentage.
I got to find a build around this, dude.
Looking into those
I know, right?
This shit is bad as like Life Leech with this.
Oh, that would be sick because you're doing so many hits.
Galaxies,
right.
We have instruments that are
death by 11,000 stab wounds.
We're using cockpit gun cameras.
And I can just, no matter what, unless they just
do good science with that. And let me tell you, the NASA budget is under
that's
pressure.
Part of it,
we need to make sure that the Artemis program is funded fully.
But unless they surround me and start hitting me all at once, I could just sit there and just tank it.
Right. So NASA would need more money to do this, but I think tailored instruments that would look at UAP in the same way that we have tailored instruments to look at astronomical data is important to gathering valuable and uniform information. If we were studying black holes by using
a pretty cool little thing.
Cameras, we probably wouldn't know that much
like
about
this
black
level design right
100%.
here.
Well, I think it's important that federal leaders take the necessary steps to ensure that UAP does not pose threats to the American public as well, and that we have the necessary budgets to collect this data. So
I think I went through here the other day.
I'm fully supportive of funding the Artemis mission. I think it's very important.
Yeah, because this is where
also,
we went
to
that little ancient
the
shit,
pilot
right?
Is,
yeah.
A
in my map.
He is a member of the Phi Beta Sigma fraternity incorporated, and so I would love to see my fraternity make it to the moon.
But Redwire is building the cameras for Artemis, so we can take some pictures of your frat
In
brother.
the
and go.
face.
There we go. Thank you so much. I yield back.
Thank you. I will now recognize Ms.
However
Luna
you
for
do
5
it,
minutes
just go
question.
keep going north.
Mr. Elizondo,
Yep.
to your knowledge, can you name the country and around time frame that the first back engineered UAP program started?
Ma'am, unfortunately, I would not be able to have that conversation in public.
Ah.
Can anyone on the panel name that? None of you? Okay. This next question is for Mr. Gallaudet. To your knowledge, have any USOs ever outpaced our submarines?
Yes, ma'am.
At what magnitude?
I don't have the exact speed, but
Purple
again, a witness
bullshit
came to me, a
beside us.
credible
Yep.
former submarine officer who
Those dickheads.
Keep going
observed it
north,
on,
fuck 'em, I don't
on
care.
sonar data.
I just want to get
And,
there.
this was in the 80s in the North Atlantic during a storm, and it outpaced his submarine by orders of magnitude.
Are you aware of
Ooh,
any
all right.
hotspots that currently exist off our shores in North America?
Not with sufficiently credible data, ma'am.
Okay, we've heard reports of there potentially being hotspots, maybe
I'm just gonna
entry
keep gliding
or entry and
down
exit points. Have you heard of
towards
any of
north
that?
here.
All right.
I have it not, ma'am, but my colleague here, Mr. Elizondo,
Yeah,
does
just
discuss
check it on my
some,
order, see
USO
when it's going to be
activity
here.
that he's observed
I'll
in
keep going
certain
toward
DoD
you.
databases.
Whoop, there you are.
Mr.
All right, yep.
Elizondo, in regards to these
Oh,
aircraft
and I landed
being
on you. Of
piloted
course I
by
did.
whatever
Oh, no,
might be
purple
known
stuff.
as biologics, are
Purple stuff
you-
coming
Yeah,
after
okay.
me. Yeah, fuck
Would
you.
you agree that it's likely that they are being piloted by some mind-body connection?
Oh, nice. You found this little
Ma'am, I
area.
think it is
Oh,
safe
yeah.
to presume here that they
This is
are
a
being
pretty dope
intelligently
little
controlled
spot to set
because
up
they,
camp,
some
actually, if you
cases
were
seem to
somebody that
anticipate,
wanted to.
Our maneuvers,
Right.
and in other cases they seem to.
Whoa.
Oh,
And I came across an email where the word "stalk" was used in a
Shit.
very secure
I
email
fell.
between Navy officers
Coming back
discussing
up.
their ships being pursued by.
oh, so did you.
In our
Okay.
previous panel,
Yeah, well, I'm
we
just
had
killing
Rush,
them.
and he had
Fuck it.
testified
Let's do
to say that some of these were
There you go.
interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
Noise.
Ma'am, I'm not qualified, certainly as a scientist or otherwise, to speculate
right.
points of origin. I looked at everything from a scientific perspective. So if you look at, for example, instantaneous acceleration, which was
Nope.
one of the observables of the program that I
Can't get
belong to, ATIP.
Get the extra
human
wind
body
under
can
me.
withstand
There we go.
about
Oh,
9G
come on.
forces for a short
Damn
period
it.
of time before you suffer
Oh, dude,
negative
over
biological
here.
consequences,
Great.
blackouts and ultimately redouts and even death. Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is one of the older
Oh,
platforms,
okay.
one of our most
Wall
highly
to climb.
maneuverable
There we go.
aircraft, manned aircraft,
Listen to
made
this.
by General Dynamics, can perform
Yeah.
about 17 or 18 G-forces before you start having structural failure.
Right, this
meaning
is
that the
crazy,
airframe
yeah,
begins
yeah.
to disintegrate while you're flying. The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
So are you?
That's wild.
I guess would it be safe
Oh,
to
we just
infer
went
that they're
backwards.
living craft?
I'm not prepared at this point to state for the record is something alive or not, because even that definition is hard. There was a time in science we thought that life required oxygen, and we now know that's not true. There are anaerobic bacteria that thrive in oxygen environments that lack oxygen.
All right, hold up.
And so also same with photosynthesis. When I was in college, I was told everything is derived from photosynthesis as a form of energy. In reality, that's not true.
That goes
There are things
backwards.
that live off of chemosynthesis. So we're constantly
We got this.
having to
These
reevaluate our
down.
understanding of what,
You know what? Fuck
the
it.
definition of life is.
Yeah, because we're trying to go up to hear the follow the melody,
Do
right?
any of you ever come across reports from
I'm just
people
trying to
that
get
claim
through
to
this
have
shit.
firsthand experiences
Like
with
Meyer
these
Park.
entities, whatever they might
Holy
be, or
shit,
these aircraft,
okay.
and then as a result, whether or not they're religious?
I don't
find
know
that
what
these
I'm
things
getting here, but-
automatically disappear. Anyone? And this is open to any of you on the panel. So just real quick, because I'm running out of time. Lou?
Ma'am, I was
I
a
don't know.
nuts and bolts kind of guy when I was at ATIP. I was focusing more on the performance characteristics and less on
There should, to be honest, yeah, there should be no reason
Okay,
to
the
not
reason I
get to
ask
where
this
you
is
want in
it
this
seems
game.
like just based on our conversations
Right.
that we've had people that say that there are good and bad.
Even
of
if
whatever
it's
these
this
things
kind of
are.
way.
And so my concern from a
Mm-hmm.
national security perspective is A, that true? B, are you guys hearing the
So I'll just
Alright,
go,
I'm through.
keep
C,
going kind
I
of
think
up.
moving forward in regard to technology, Mr. Gold,
Oh, you
can
got
answer
through?
this real quickly.
Damn it.
Some of these aircraft, it seems that they are operating off of
Okay.
energy that we
There we
don't
go.
currently have. But just yes or no, in your opinion, if we were able to obtain that, would that
Noise.
impact humanity for the better or negative?
Would certainly save us some money on funding on Artemis.
Definitely.
This is a national security issue, that if there is such technology out there, we're not the only country that might have access to it. We
Still
don't want to be
300
on the
meters
wrong
north.
end of technological surprise.
Okay. Thank you guys for your time.
All right, thank you. I will now recognize
I
Mr.
love her,
Garcia for
man.
5
She
minutes.
has some great
Thank you, and
questions.
I apologize for stepping
Who?
out. My governor is here
Luna.
upstairs, so I'm
Oh, yeah.
trying to get in between meetings, so apologize for that. I want to just start by just asking everyone on the panel or witnesses, and I had a chance to read all the testimony before, but just to set the agenda, just if we can go down real briefly, do you believe, just for the record, that the federal government, any part of the federal government, is knowingly concealing evidence about UAPs from the public?
Yes, sir.
89 meters north.
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. I also want to just go down the line.
Oh,
I
it's
know
this one
many
right
of you
there.
have already said this, but just for the record
Can I
again,
do it?
just briefly,
Nope.
what do you believe UAPs could be or are?
Strong evidence that they are non-human, higher intelligence.
I echo my colleague's comment, sir.
Genuinely do not know.
Don't know, but we must find out.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate those answers, gentlemen. I think this is obviously another remarkable hearing with this really important information, so I thank all of you for answering the questions. Admiral, I just want to...
Right behind you over here.
Oh. Last year, our subcommittee heard
There we
from
go.
2 retired Navy pilots, Lieutenant Ryan Graves and Commander David Fravor,
This is
regarding
the
UAPs.
tower, isn't it?
Actually, I think Ryan is here in the
No.
audience and been a great person to get to know and to have conversations with. He, of course,
Where
has
is the actual
been involved in the
oh, it's
Safe
the tree one, ain't
Airspace
it?
for Americans Act. With
Yeah,
Chairman
this is the one we
Graves,
did
with
before.
Chairman Mace for UAP reporting by civilian
Okay.
aviation personnel. Can you discuss briefly why it's important for civilian pilots to be able
Oh,
to
shit.
report
I
UAPs
just
and
went-
why these legal protections are critical for our national security?
My bad.
Yes, Congressman,
I'll
thank
be there
you.
in
And
just a
I did
second.
invite,
If you get
Ryan
there
Graves
before I
as my
do,
guest.
put
He's
down
on
an
the
altar or
advisory
something.
Hold on, I don't even know where you're
Safe
going.
Aerospace and legislation that you supported and introduced.
I
fully
literally missed
support
my
as
shot,
well.
dude.
And I
'Cause
think
I
it's
did the
important that
updraft
more
on
civilian
accident.
pilots, commercial pilots report so we
Guess
can
it
better
makes 2 of us, 'cause I
understand
don't even
and
know.
do research on UAP, as well as
I'm down in
remove
some
the
shit. I was
stigma
just
to
following
more
you.
Citizens report on what they observe.
Why
And,
is
and
my
also
fucking...
It will only contribute to aviation
Now it's
safety when we have a
expected.
better
Oh my
understanding
God,
of
what
where
am I in?
these UAP are, how
I just
they
fell straight to
operate,
the fucking
and
bottom of
at
that
what
shit because I
frequency
couldn't
and
see.
what capability level. So it's important for aviation
Yep,
safety.
I'm
and
trying to
it'll
get
be
on
important
top
for
of this.
moving
Hold on.
science and research forward.
Thank you, sir. And I just want to just reiterate to my colleagues, I mean, this is a very
Okay.
bipartisan piece of
I
legislation.
can't see a damn
just
thing
fucking-
because
We
it's
just gotta continue
raining.
to get this through
Oh,
the
yeah,
Congress,
that's
and it's
right.
incredibly important that civilian pilots have the opportunity to safely report the UAPs that they are seeing or encountering in the air. And I can't express how critical this piece of what I believe is a larger collection of evidence and facts actually happened. We've been approached by pilots. I've talked to folks that
All right, where are you at?
have been engaged
You
with
still
our
just
office
down
and
there?
others, and there is still enormous
Trying to figure out how the
stigma.
fuck to get back up.
And essentially, we don't have a system where folks are feeling free to be able to report what they're seeing. And so I just want to reiterate that that advocacy. Mr. Gold, in your testimony, you discussed
Yeah, I just kinda
NASA's
climbed up
aviation
one of the
safety reporting
branches,
system, a
so now I'm
confidential,
at least off the
non-concurrent
ground.
reporting mechanism. In the Safe Airspace for Americans Act, we explicitly allow for civilian reporting, of course, of UAPs. Can you explain why the NASA task force recommended the use of the aviation safety reporting system?
The
Oh, there
aviation
you are.
safety reporting
Gotcha.
system is an existing system that is trusted, that has taken hundreds of thousands, now millions
All right.
of cases.
fuck do we
and
get over
again,
there?
recognizing budgetary constraints, this seemed like the perfect way
Oh,
to be able to gain
goddamn.
more data. And when it comes to the stigma, sir, it's something that pilots are used to reporting on, that crew is used to reporting on. So it's a great
Whoa.
way to get data, to overcome the stigma without spending really that much more additional money since the system exists.
That doesn't
Thank you
really
so much
send
for
me
your support
anywhere.
of that. Thank you for what Ryan Graves does.
Yeah,
This
up
is
here.
common sense means to expose the truth of UAP for the purpose of this.
Thank you. And I just want to also add, now, earlier this year, as part of the House Defense Authorization Bill, the NDAA, I had filed an
Where is it
amendment
at?
to include the UAP
There it is.
Disclosure Act, which would create a UAP Records Review Board and exercise with exercise of eminent domain over UAP-related material, modeled actually on the JFK Assassination Records
right.
Collection Act, which is widely known. Now, the amendment was blocked, but thankfully the Senate included
Oh
the
my
amendment by
God,
Senator
what
Rounds
the
and
fuck
Schumer for
is
the UAP
it?
Disclosure Act. So I just again want to say that we should
How did
be
I end up
pushing
down
and
here
ensuring
now?
the UAP
Because you
disclosure
dove
act, which
straight
is
down.
bipartisan in its support, should move forward. And if I can just briefly, particularly Admiral, can you just briefly, as I close my time, explain why the UAP Disclosure Act would be critical for us and our national security?
Thank you, Congressman. Yes, I believe the UAP Disclosure Act is important for national security, as well as advancing potential socio-economic benefits resulting from UAP research, as well as public safety, as we referred to previously regarding aviation. And this act will allow for greater transparency and open research, and that's why I'm also a member of the UAP Disclosure Fund as an advisor, as in the Sol Foundation, as an advisor, senior strategic advisor, which is advocating for the same.
Thank you very much. I yield back.
All right, thank you. I'd like to recognize Mr. Biggs for
Okay.
5
There you
minutes
go.
of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for holding this committee. Thank you to the witnesses.
You get a
Admiral,
hook.
the video that is called the Go Fast video, the email that you've talked about.
Heal
being
myself
deleted,
up a little bit.
I just want to briefly cover this. You said that the email.
Hold on. Oh yeah, was it back this way?
The author was asking whether any of the recipients were aware of the classified technology demonstrations that it could explain the objects that were observed. And then you said the email disappears.
I don't know where the
And you guys have a series of
Okay,
meetings.
no.
The commander of Fleet Force.
Gee,
Defense
why wouldn't it do
Operations
that?
Officer never discussed the incident again. Is that right? Is that accurate?
That's accurate, sir.
And even during weekly meetings, it was never discussed again. My question for you is, you were in those meetings. Did you
Okay.
personally hear that nothing's going on about that?
Yes, sir. I was in those meetings, and
Did you make inquiries about that?
no, I did not, sir, because I inferred, since I had been read into other
Sounds like plus it's
special
nighttime. I
access
can't see a
programs,
fucking thing. I
that
have no idea
this
which way I'm
UAP
going.
video was part of one that I was not read into, or any of the recipients, or the author of the email.
I'm going to
As
try and get out of here
intelligence
to a
agency
place where I
basically
can
pulled it
lay
back
down an altar
and
for us.
instructed the author of the
All right.
email, hey,
Jesus
this is,
Christ.
You just conducted what they call spillage into a lower classification level, and when that's done, the procedures are basically to remove any of the communication.
You're going to silo it. So, and you, Mr. Elizondo, you said in your report and your testimony today, a government work on the UAP subject still remains classified. Excessive secrecies led to grave misdeeds against loyal civil servants, military personnel,
what
and
the
the public, all to hide the fact that we are not alone in the cosmos. Fair?
Yes, sir.
All right, and all of you, and
I'm just gonna
and Mr.
dig through it
Schellenberger,
then.
by the way, I've read several of your books, Mr.
Fuck it.
Schellenberger, excellent stuff.
Huh?
What I would say too is,
I'm just digging through
you were
to
asked about the
a
veracity
mountainside.
of the author of this report. You comfortable?
I'm
with
getting the
veracity?
fuck up here. I'm done with this.
Yes. Okay. And then, and I'll get to you in a second, Mr. Gold. We'll talk about Kunian and Lakatoshan scientific advancement and how we're obviating that through these.
Oh my
processes.
God,
But
every
we'll get
time
to
I
that in
try-
a sec. Because what I want to really get to is
Fucking like roots and
the
holes
ultimate
everywhere.
question
Jesus.
It really
I know.
becomes this: for what purpose is the federal government overclassifying? Because that's what they're doing. They're overclassifying and forbidding the public for getting access to this. And if you know,
Okay.
if you have an explanation, I'm curious because
Okay.
I know what I've
No.
been told. I just want to know from your perspective, why do they overclassify? Mr. Elizondo, you look like you're finger on the button, ready to go.
Yes, sir. Forgive me. I think there's several reasons. I think at the time when this
Nope.
this reality became
There
evident
we
in the
go.
U.S. government, we were
Stay right
in the
here
middle of
for
the
a
Cold
minute
War
now.
with
All
the
right.
Soviet Union, and we did not want
Whew.
to tip our hands
Finally got
to
up here.
what our knowledge base was
Okay,
on this
'cause I'm
topic.
almost-
We did not want to broadcast that.
Yeah, I see you
Gotcha.
right
Damn
off
it.
over to here,
Cold
but
War's-
it's
Cold
raining
War's
out. I
long
can't
over.
light my
It is, sir.
torch.
It is, sir.
Can't
There's
see
also
a
then the
fucking
philosophical
thing.
argument that the Department of Defense and the intelligence community is solution-oriented. And when you don't
Oh,
have
all right, I have to
answers,
go.
it's a really tough spot to be in.
It's easier
My
to be
food's
quiet
about here. I'll be right
and
back.
Suppress than
All right.
if you don't have the answer.
Indeed, sir. In fact, there's a very real example when
Fucking
we built a
shitting
U-2
me
spy
now.
plane and flew it over then Russia, and we're taking reconnaissance. And when we first started flying the aircraft, it flew so high and so fast we thought they weren't tracking us. In reality, they were tracking every flight. It wasn't until the Russians could develop the SA-2 surface-to-air missile and successfully shoot them down.
I would suggest to you also, along with Lakatos and Kuhn, you also have a problem with Kenneth Arrow's path dependence or increasing returns. That's one
Hello.
reason why
they won't disclose it. It's too painful to admit. But I just want to read a couple things from Mr. Schellenberger's, what he gave to us today, because I think this is interesting stuff, and I just want to convey this to you. On USG networks, there exists infrared footage of and imagery of a grouping of vessels engaged in SIGINT and massive collection at night in a specific area of the Pacific Ocean. This footage, which was in close proximity to the vessels, a large equilateral triangle UAP suddenly appears directly over the ships. These three bright points are seen at each bottom corner of the UAP, which is observed to slowly rotate on its horizontal axis. And he goes on to describe that. And I just want to read one more, and I'm doing this because I think it's interesting. This stuff is interesting as anything. So let's get this one here, right here. While performing a routine airspace surveillance and control mission in the Eastern Air Defense Sector,
I gotta pee. I'll be right back.
Fighter observed multiple UAP contacts at mission altitude. Moving to intercept, the F-22 pilot noted multiple metallic orbs slightly smaller than a sedan hovering in place. Upon vectoring towards the UAPs, a smaller formation of the metallic orbs accelerated at rapid speed towards the F-22, which was unable to establish radar locks on the presumed hostile UAPs. The F-22 broke trajectory and attempted to evade, but was intercepted and boxed in by approximately 3 to 6 UAPs. And then I'll leave that there, but because I just have no more time left. Well, she's not looking. So let's just get into, let's get into to part of this.
I thought I would be saved by the bell.
No. Let's talk about Kuhnian, Lakatoshian type of scientific development. And the problem that we have here is you have institutional blockage of what would be normal development of scientific ideas. And if you want to expand that, Mr. Gold.
We're over time, so be very fast, please.
I'll just say I'm a recovering attorney, so please take it easy on the science. But all breakthroughs have been heretical at first, and that's the challenge that we face, particularly with something as extraordinary as this, which is why gathering the data is so important.
You there yet?
And I'll just end by saying, by the way, the overclassification of material is in no way limited to UAP. That is occurring throughout the government, as well as the inability to get people classifications in a timely and efficient manner, and then to have those classifications be broad enough to be useful. So this is a larger issue that I hope that Congress will look at.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Biggs. I've been generous. All right, Mr. Burleson, I'll recognize you for 5 minutes of questions, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Elizondo, does any branch of the United States government or defense contractors possess technology?
Sir, there's documentation that I believe was submitted for the record that was approved for release by the U.S. Pentagon, by the Department of Defense Office of Pre-Publication Security Review, and it states one of the reasons why my predecessor program, OSAP, was trying to collect material of unknown origin.
Was it successfully collected?
It was not. What happened is that there was an aerospace contract company that requested to divest itself of the material that was collected in the 1950s. Unfortunately, that didn't actually occur.
So let's dive into that. That's the Bigelow Airspace, correct? So
yes, sir.
There was a journalist, Christopher Sharp, who said that there was a transfer between Lockheed Martin, Bigelow Airspace, and the CIA allegedly blocked this. Can you describe that?
Oh, yeah.
What I can say is that it was blocked. Why it was blocked, I can only surmise. I was part of some conversations later on with some of those contract personnel where they had told all of us that is accurate. What we required was a memo from the Secretary of the Air Force in order to make that complete, and that never occurred. And so when Secretary Mattis became Secretary of Defense, I decided it would be appropriate for me to try to receive a memo from him as SecDef, as Secretary of Defense, if we could not get a memo from the Secretary of the Air Force to transfer that material.
So if that material exists today, who's in possession?
Sir, I wouldn't be able to have that conversation in an open hearing. We'd probably have to have that.
Okay, my question
My
to
bad.
you then is, if we were
come
in
back
a secure
home real
setting,
quick.
if we were
I
in
got
a skiff, would you
altar
be able
out there.
to
Right, I had to power down some of the food.
or get access to
Oh, you get-
something?
I had to power down some of the food, hurry up and eat some.
Material that we can put our hands on, or biologics.
All right.
That
Oh, you
would
did put one out here.
convince
Okay.
me,
We're
would show me
We can go back home real quick.
that we have non-human origins.
Sir, that decision would not be mine. That would be to the gatekeeper still in the U.S. government.
And who would we, so if you were in our shoes, where would you go from here? How would you get that information? Where, a lot of times we just don't know who to ask because we don't know where to go next. So if you were in our shoes, where would you go?
Well, I prefer to answer that question in a closed session. However, we established Arrow for that very purpose, and unfortunately, under its previous leadership, it failed. So one would hope that they would have the authorities necessary to do that.
Oops.
Let's hope that this new iteration of leadership will be successful.
In the discussions, it's simply about material, or is there discussion about it was previously testified that there was biologics that were collected. Are you aware of any of that?
I am, sir, aware of the reporting that biologics have been recovered.
Oh,
Again,
dude,
my
I got
focus
these
was more
dope
nuts and
legendary
bolts,
fucking daggers.
Looking at the physical aspects.
They look
of
pretty
the
sick.
directed around military equities.
We
and
got the
nuclear
mortar,
equities.
right?
Yeah, I gave it to you.
I'm certainly not a medical expert. I would not be able to probably provide
So
you
we can create
a whole
the
lot
goo.
of value in that simply because I don't have the
can
expertise.
create
So
goo.
was anything described as
Goo.
possession of bodies?
Yes.
We have is it multiple types of creatures or?
Sir, I couldn't answer that. I can tell you anecdotally that it was discussed quite a bit when I was at the Pentagon. The problem is the supposed collection of these biological samples occurred before my time, in fact, before I was even born.
And was this
Yeah,
part
we
of
can
the Lockheed
create
Martin
goo.
discussion, or was this the biologics is a completely separate?
Separate yet related.
Okay. Has anyone made contact?
Sir, I'm sorry, could you specify?
Has there been any, to your knowledge, any communication with a non-human life form?
So the term communication is a bit of a trick word because there's verbal communication like we're having now. The problem is you also have nonverbal communication. And so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal meaning, when a Russian reconnaissance aircraft comes into U.S. airspace,
Okay, we
which
can get the
scramble
copper
two
ore
F-22s,
easily
we are certainly
enough
communicating intent and
with
capability.
Wyvern head. And then
I
we
think
can
the same goes with
strengthen
this.
the flame
we have
again.
these things that are being observed over controlled U.S. airspace. And they're not really doing a good job hiding themselves.
Hell yes.
They're making it pretty obvious they have the ability to even interfere with our nuclear equities and our nuclear readiness.
Is
over here.
the United States government or in our contractors, are they pulling technology from this? Are they're
All right.
they're reverse engineering?
I'm going to
this?
finish the rest of that food.
Sir,
I'll be
as I
right back.
previously stated, and please forgive me,
All right.
I am not authorized to discuss specifics about crash retrievals. I signed documentation with the U.S. government. What I can say was, after a very thorough review process by the Pentagon, what I wrote about, and that was my limit, unfortunately, that I was given.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I would now like to recognize Mr. Timmons for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Elizondo, you just said something interesting. You said they don't seem to be hiding. They don't seem to be hiding. The UAP sightings are becoming increasingly brash, if you will. And, we've been hearing about these for years, but they've generally been isolated and not as consistent and over critical military installations. Would you say that's fair? Is this becoming increasingly often? Is it happening more and more?
Great question, sir. Let me see if I can answer this for you. Certainly, there seems to be some indication that they're being provocative, meaning that they're, in some cases, literally splitting aircraft formations right down the middle. So that's an air safety issue. The question is it the frequency increasing? And really the response is it depends. Yes, it's possible that there is an increase in frequency, but it's also possible that there's heightened awareness now, and there's also more pervasiveness of technology out there that's collecting this information and that can record this information. So we're not quite sure yet if it's actually an increase in numbers of these events, or is it that we have better equipment now that to record these things, and we have a better ability, if you will, to analyze these things.
And that's my next question. It seems that a lot of these sightings occur near military installations. Do you think that these UAPs are intentionally targeting military installations, or do you think that we have increased abilities to monitor surrounding the military installations?
Sir, maybe both. Part of my concern is we have something in the Department of Defense and the intelligence community called IPB, Initial Preparations of the Battle Space. And we use equities like ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, and other type of equities and technologies to prep the battle space. And certainly, if I was wearing my national security hat, even if there was a 2% chance that there was some sort of hostile intent here, that's 2% higher than we really can accept. And so we must figure out, there's a calculus, capabilities versus intent, in order to identify if something is a national security threat. We've seen some of the capabilities, yet we have no idea in the intent. And so this is why this discussion is somewhat, I think, problematic from a governmental perspective, because we have no idea.
Sure, thank you. Mr. Schellenberger, you're particularly familiar with the Langley Air Force Base incident a year ago? Are you familiar?
Just from what I read in the
Just
news.
from what you've read?
Yeah.
I would imagine a large percentage of the American population became aware of that with the Wall Street Journal article. Would you
We
agree
got
with
a
that?
Yes.
in it on
And,
the field here.
Were you aware of
This
that incident
motherfucker.
prior to the Wall Street Journal article?
No.
To the rest of the panel, was the Wall Street Journal article the first time that y'all were made aware of what was essentially an over 2-week
There's somebody else in this
UAP
game right now.
frenzy over Langley Air Force Base? Were y'all aware of this prior to the Wall Street Journal article? Anybody? Show of hands. Yes,
sir.
Dr. Guyette, could you give me how did you become aware of it?
A colleague of mine who I referenced previously, Chris Mellon, he wrote an extensive article about this, that there were other incursions of drones over Langley before this, as well as many, many military installations over the last 5 decades.
And it's my understanding that there's been an ever increasing in number, and I'm trying to think how to say this because I wear 2 different hats. I'm still in the Air Force. So, I mean, it seems that they're becoming increasingly brash, and the question that we really have to figure out is it China or is it non-human? And I think that's the biggest question the American people want to know. If it's China, it's scary because they have a lot of technology that we cannot explain. And if it's non-human, that's scary because we don't know the intent. Would you say that's fair?
Yes, Congressman. And in fact, I really believe that we should use this hearing as a catalyst to improve and bolster our air defense capabilities and our maritime domain awareness capabilities, because obviously there are holes in it, whether it be UAP of non-HI direction or NHI direction, or, as you say, sir, China or any other adversary.
Are you all aware of any task force at the Pentagon or in the national security apparatus that's trying to assess the answer to that question?
At the current moment, sir, no, but this is a great point. From 2020 to 2022, there was a UAP task force in the DoD succeeding where Mr. Elizondo worked, led by Jay Stratton, who had the first comprehensive whole-of-government approach to UAP, which involved pathways to declassification and to increase transparency, as well as assessing the national security risks of UAP. This was a really well-established approach, and we have all advocated that something like it return.
I'm running out of time. The last thing is that we need authorities. The law enforcement, military do not have authorities to actually engage, and Congress needs to act to give those authorities to local law enforcement and the military so they have clear guidelines on how to assess these issues going forward. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Ms. Boebert for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now that we have all been cautioned in this committee hearing that the mention of Pentagon's Immaculate Constellation program could put us on a list, well, I already find myself on many lists, I'm sure. So I speak my mind often, so why not just keep going with it? May as well just go all out and say it. The Earth is flat, birds are government drones, and we've never set foot on the moon, and Joe Biden received 81 million votes in the 2020 election. So let's just see how many lists we could get on here today. But Mr. Schellenberger, I wanted to ask you, I think I understand from this hearing that you would agree that classifying information like this is not in the best interest of the people. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, with the caveat that, of course, I would support classification necessary to protect secrets essential to national security, but I think it's pretty obvious that there's overclassification.
Overclassification, yes. And so in most instances, if they can't tell us what, do you think at some point they'll at least tell us why?
President-elect Trump has repeatedly committed to greater transparency, both on the UAP issue, on JFK files, on COVID origins, and many other things. So I think that we need to make sure that the next administration is held accountable for that.
Agreed. And this is for all four of you. Yes or no, please. I have many questions I want to get to. Are there any known instances of recovered materials or technologies that are not of human origin and maybe connected to any advanced bioscience defense programs within the USG?
There's somebody in our game right now.
What?
I wouldn't be able to answer that, ma'am.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's over at the Black Mire right now, just walking the fuck around.
So there are rumors that have.
How do they know your password?
Of a secretive
Because
project
it's not password. They can't do anything as far as like the game.
Oh, yeah, because they're a lower tier person, or not lower tier, but
genetic material, potentially for the enhancement.
They can't
level 4.
Yeah,
but he's been surviving.
Well, I mean, not that, but they're they can't be an administrator or anything.
I am not, ma'am.
Right. If you're ready to go, let me know.
Yep.
Okay, I would like to know,
I emptied all my
with
shit again,
Immaculate
but-
Constellation, how does this relate to UAP activities, Mr. Schellenberg, in oceanic environments? Are there any instances where the Navy or other maritime forces have encountered UAPs that could not be explained by known technology or natural phenomena?
Yeah, the Immaculate Constellation covers both terrestrial and oceanic, and there's actually a number of cases described in the report.
Make sure you're all healthy and
in the
boosted.
ocean.
And do you believe that there is a concerted effort by the Pentagon?
That dude is out
keep
here
Congress
by
out of
that?
the loop regarding
He's level
these
4?
UAP activities specifically in our waters.
What the fuck?
I think it's about 5% of our ocean that's
We're
actually
about to have a
been
fight, unless you just want to skip it.
detail, by
No, let's
man,
go. I'm not
and we've
saying, like,
studied more of space
what do you
than we
mean,
had
skip
of
it?
our
Okay.
own oceans. And so are there any
Because we got a
accounts
healer,
of UAPs
two
emerging from or
tank
submerging into our
motherfuckers in
water,
here, and a
which
couple of
could
javelin
indicate
throwers.
a base or presence beneath
The tank
the
motherfuckers
ocean's
are gonna
surface?
hurt.
I don't know about a base, but as I mentioned, I had a different source entirely describe this pretty extraordinary footage that exists of orbs, of an orb coming out of the ocean.
See if we can pull them one at a time.
Some would say that there's multiple hotspots where we see frequent activity. So in your investigations, have you come across any data or visual evidence like sonar readings or underwater footage of these?
There's a tank.
I have not beyond what's in the report.
You've written about UAPs not only in the air but in underwater. Are there any specifics on what you've learned about the UAP
Push 'em
activity
off.
in our oceans?
Damn.
Particularly, have you spoken with sources who have provided any evidence or eyewitness
rolling up with
accounts
you.
of these UAPs interacting
Watch yourself,
with
don't-
our naval
don't fall.
forces or being detected by our underwater surveillance systems?
Nothing beyond what's in the report and in
All right.
the specific case that I mentioned.
Don't play like that. We're gonna fucking whoop your ass, bro.
This report says it all.
Yeah.
There's no other information that we are aware of.
All right, you see the healer
regarding the
and another
activity
tank?
within our waters.
Hold on.
I have other sources
Take
that
out the
have
healer.
told me
Yeah, I'm
that have shared
trying.
a significant amount of information, but they're not.
Oh, here's old boy
comfortable,
Frederick now.
sharing.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Okay.
I don't know.
Are there any
Fight him. Man, whoever you're.
capabilities
Fight him,
observed
Frederick.
in,
Fight him.
these oceanic
baby?
UAPs that seem to defy our current understanding of physics or our engineering capabilities?
It seems like they all do.
Yes, I would agree with that. And my time
Ooh.
is up, but I do appreciate your bravery, your courage
like
for
you're hitting
coming
me
here and
hard.
speaking today. And seems like there's still some questions that we need answers to, and we will not relent until we get those to the American people. Thank you all.
Thank you. I move to allow myself
Alright.
and the ranking member 5 additional minutes for questions without objection, so ordered. Mr. Elizondo, were you read into the
We
Immaculate
still need to
Constellation
move.
program?
I would not be authorized
Northeast.
to confirm nor deny the existence of any ongoing or past program, especially as it relates to a special
the fuck?
access program,
All right.
either by name or trigraph.
Okay, and then are there US government or private contractors, they work with other foreign countries, China, for example, to exchange data, quote from a source,
Chest up here.
that intelligence data about UAP?
Let me see if I can answer that a little bit more generally, ma'am, if I may. We do have foreign material exploitation programs. That is something that is widely known, and that term itself is unclassified.
What the
How
fuck?
exactly that works becomes a bit sensitive. A discussion we could certainly have in a closed session if you like. We do work with international partners and allies quite
Where is
often, not just
fucking-
in military exercises and workups, but in other intelligence efforts as well.
In terms of material that's given to private contractors, there's
didn't want to
certain
go down
material
here,
given to
but
certain
okay.
contractors because of their experience. So, for example, if it's related to submerged and undersea propulsion, would it go to a
I don't even know
general
how the
contractor
fuck-
like General Dynamics?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely correct. Different contractors have different levels of expertise.
What's Lockheed's expertise
Aerospace, ma'am.
in the UAP space? That's all that they would do submerged.
I guess this
No,
guy
I
is
didn't say
doing the
that,
same
ma'am.
mission as us.
Lockheed
being
Martin and
annoying.
others do quite a bit of work both
Nah, he just came in here to play
in our
with us.
atmosphere, in space, and even underwater. There are
really?
certain
Sweet.
efforts.
Rock the shit with us.
It's a tough question. You're asking. Put me on the spot here.
I'm looking for the answer.
Yes,
Bennett
ma'am,
is here
they,
now.
They are involved in I would rather let Lockheed Martin explain
Bennett!
different domains that they're
Oh,
involved
no.
with.
His name is Bennett, and
discuss that,
he's
but they're
definitely in
involved
it.
A lot of different areas and domains.
Admiral, flight safety risks for our pilots.
All right.
Based on what you've experienced and seen in your career.
They're extensive, and the one exercise I referred to where I received the email that was then deleted was the pilots, and
Oh.
this is worth bringing out. There are debunkers out there who have said the Go Fast video was just a balloon. That was only one video that was released. There were dozens of these encounters that pilots, friends of Orion Graves, who's in this room right here, witnessed and caused significant safety concerns. And to almost call out
yeah,
an
with
exercise
these
and shut
flowers.
it down, which is
Right.
very compressed, and the carrier's getting ready for deployment, and the pilots have to
Where
get
the fuck did
certified to
Bennett
land on
go?
the carrier. It's extreme,
Bennett.
to say the least.
All right, I have two last questions. Real quickly, Mr. Schellenberger, how do we get more whistleblowers to come forward?
Oh, where'd you go?
Well, this
What are you
hearing
doing?
is very important, and obviously
Trying to get
you
up
know,
this fucking mountain
I can't
because we got to go to the
encourage whistleblowers to obtain information.
Oh.
I
Thingamajig.
can, guarantee that I
Well,
will protect them.
do
and
we
go
have
prison
to
protect their identities?
Okay.
Go up this or
Yes, sir. Okay, my
around?
last question. The first hearing we had
I'm
on
just
this,
climbing the mountain with
I
the
never
double jump.
moved on UAPs,
For
what they
sure.
were, biologics, non-human, etc. How would you define, each of you, my last question, how would you define non-human biologics, non-human intelligence? What are we actually talking about? Admiral, and we'll go down the line.
All
I
right,
don't
so
think
we've
it's
gotten
a
up to
stretch when you look
here.
at the diversity of life on this planet and the size of this universe to think that there would be more diverse, higher order, non-human
idea.
intelligence
Son of a-
throughout the universe, and that's probably what's visiting us.
I would take the scientific approach.
All right, hold up.
The definition would be the ability to react to a stimulus
you go.
in a manner that requires an intellectual thought process.
Clear it out if you need to.
I just don't know.
So we
I
could
think
put
we must
on
be honest in our
vocal
assumptions that we're looking for
chat
intelligence
inside
that
the
could be
server
biological,
maybe
it might not.
to let these guys know.
Nah.
Be like, hey,
Non-biological, but what non-biological
it'd be all right.
intelligence, what does that mean, though?
Artificial intelligence, ML.
that's kind of cool.
machine
Oh,
Unless they just
well,
assume
one
that
left.
rocking with us.
One left.
Discuss.
Bennett's
Every
still
time we
here.
look out in the universe, we are humbled
Unless they just keep
relative to
going
what
with
we
us.
don't
Yeah.
know in terms of the
Keep
forms
going
of
with us or
intelligence
rocking your own
that it may
shit.
take.
Do it.
I can assure you I probably can't answer your question, but I think the ultimate answer is going to surprise us.
All right, I'm here now.
And then Mr.
Oh,
Garcia.
I almost am. Hold on.
Remarks.
There's a
I know
wasp
we're about to
thing out there.
Cheers, so I'll be
Oh,
brief.
God damn
Just,
it.
I want to thank you all for being here. I wanna
Yeah, we
thank
got more of
Chairman
that shit.
Mays
Oh.
especially for holding this important bipartisan hearing. And I want to thank all the committee members that are interested in this topic. I think our commitment to,
What the fuck
to all
is-
of you and all the folks that have contacted us, and certainly to the advocates and the pilots, is that we need to continue investigating
There
our
we go.
UAPs. I think the country
Bennett's dead.
owes the country's owed explanations and
right,
ensure
whatever.
that
Where
the
is
safety of our
Bennett?
security
Bennett-
is always protected.
Bennett's over
Bennett's
at,
right
This is a
here.
conversation and questioning that must continue. So
All right,
I'm
here we
very
go.
grateful to all of you.
Whatever.
And I also just want to
Bennett!
just personally, I think it's really important.
Now we got
Gotta
people to
save
bitch at.
Bennett when we
Guide,
can. He's a,
my
he's
questioning
small,
and
man.
my observations
He's a
from UAPs
he's a
is,
tiny,
one,
tiny
is
character.
should always be guided by facts, science, and data, and stay serious
Right.
on those issues.
You got some brick
And the
over
second
here.
thing
Oh,
I
this is
think that
this
we
is
should
like
not
that other one that we
limit
did.
our
Okay.
Our imagination.
Yeah,
and
Oh,
this
this
is
is
the
it.
exact same
Yeah.
curiosity
Gotcha.
and what
Duh.
UAPs
Yeah,
can
this is
actually
that
do.
one.
This
Duh.
is the
And I
one
think
from last
those two
night.
things
Yeah,
for me
Yep.
are really important, and I'm grateful for all of you to be here. So with that, I yield back.
the one that was so
Okay, and we have
goddamn.
Mr. Ogles
annoying.
who is on the way.
Yeah.
He's going to be here any second. Is that correct?
Because you had to
What-
climb the right
Jack,
way.
He'll be the last last member with questions that we have today, and we have votes. So we want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank Mr. Garcia and folks on both sides of the aisle for being here today and being patient. We have a lot more questions, and I hope that this will open the door to more hearings in the future. I obviously would like to know how much taxpayers are
I think he
spending
just
on this.
Didn't
you have the
understand
right
what
to
was
know.
going on here.
But also,
No.
if we're spending money on something that doesn't exist, why are we spending the money? And
Oh,
if it
there we
doesn't,
go.
if
I'm
it does
good at
exist,
this.
why are we hiding it from the public? And of course, our
Warrior
national security is a
trousers
huge
and
issue,
wizard
because
boots.
if there's
Nice.
technology that could harm us or our allies that are in the hands of our adversaries,
This shit sucked.
we obviously want to stay ahead of
Yeah,
that
it did.
to the best of our ability to ensure that
Fuck! God
that
damn it.
technology is not in the hands
Are you
of someone who
fucking
could use it
serious?
against us or our allies anywhere in
Why
the
did
world.
it immediately start
So,
gliding?
Mr. Ogles, you're just in time,
That's
babe.
stupid.
I will recognize you for 5 minutes of questioning before we head on out today.
Okay, I'll chill here and wait for you for a minute.
Nah, if you can get to it, get to it.
No, I'll wait. Keep going a little bit. I'm about to
Well, thank you all for being here.
take a drink of this here beer.
Madam Chairwoman.
Oh, yeah.
Out of breath because I sprinted to get here.
Mhm.
But this is an important hearing. I think we all know that there's something going on. Mr. Elizondo, based on your knowledge of UAP sightings, do you believe it's fair to say that they are especially common near nuclear sites?
Yes, sir. Mr. Congressman, I absolutely am convinced of that, as are my colleagues inside the government.
Oh, that's fucked
And the
up.
reason why I pose that question,
Especially
this has been
coming
one of
near
my talking
nuclear
points from the
site.
beginning, is Oak Ridge is in Tennessee. The so-called weather balloon that drifted, that we now know was controlled, it passed near Oak Ridge. It obviously is a sensitive site, both of interest to our adversaries and to whatever
I
else
forgot
this
where we
is.
went from here. Do we
Because
still
we know
go?
that at military installations, at
Yeah, we still
sensitive
go up to the tree.
locations, such as nuclear facilities,
This is where the bitch
that we're
bird went.
seeing this take place. So the question is, what is it? Do you believe they've caused an irregular activity, and why might they be interested in those sites?
Sir, in some cases, it's actually regular activity. You'd be surprised. There's actually documentation right now that's been submitted. It's not just Oak Ridge. It's Savannah River site, SRS. It's also Los Alamos. A lot of our sensitive R&D locations appear to be under some sort of surveillance and monitoring.
I caught myself. Hold up. How do I get back up?
Because a lot of innovation comes out of those areas. A lot of new
There we go.
technologies.
There you go. I'm good.
A lot of,
all right.
if you will, disruptive technologies that we use for our national defense.
Oh shit, son.
Originates out of those locations and advanced concepts in physics as well.
I don't care. I'd rather
So
hit that.
if I was doing any type of
there we go.
reconnaissance,
Hey.
even
No!
Oh, shit, I knocked you off. I knocked you
that's
off
a
my
great
bed.
target.
You son of a...
Sure.
Damn it.
Again,
I thought you missed this. I was like, fuck it, let's go.
Questions, what role might the Department of Energy,
I'll wait for you.
subsidiaries or affiliates have in this type of technology?
I think Bennett's dead.
Or possessing this type of technology.
No,
whether
he's
it's
good. He's
ours or
moving.
others. Mr. Gallaudet, I think your testimony has been pretty clear, but would you please reiterate that do you believe UAPs pose a threat to pilots? Excuse me.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. They were threatening Navy
fuck? You're
pilots
up
in the
there.
exercise that I was, my people were involved with in 2015, and it's my understanding they're risking pilot safety,
Where you at?
commercial
Birdnest?
and
Yeah.
military today.
On. Oh,
Well,
no, no,
considering-
God.
And I understand that there's a need,
Ooh.
in some cases, to keep certain
Man.
technologies secret.
Right.
But
Yeah,
you
you get
believe
there.
This
that
shit
it
gets
is posing
fucking
a threat
annoying.
to our personnel, correct?
Yes, sir.
So I think it's reasonable to conclude that if there's a threat to our personnel
No, I don't.
who are serving our
Are
country,
you
Should I just
fucking
go?
serious? Yeah, you might as
that
well.
there be oversight.
100%, Congressman. And in fact, that's the one thing that we've not talked about enough during this hearing is the fact that the government executive branch not sharing with Congress what it knows about UAP infringes on your legislative and oversight responsibilities to such an extent that's very
Got it.
concerning. I mean, what else are
You
we...
can warp up here now.
If you look at national security or intelligence or foreign affairs or appropriations, you all have oversight and legislative responsibility regarding those.
I don't think I can because I don't
Issue
see
may be
it.
the greatest issue of our time, and it's being hid from you.
Well, I mean, and to your point, I think we've
I got the
seen
fast travel right
over
there.
the decades that we have certain adversaries like China,
Eh,
like Russia.
yeah, I don't see it
that,
though on the map itself.
Technologically speaking, are not as advanced as us. That they lack some of the lethality that we have, and that we've seen that they've gone after our technologies, and in some cases succeeded, in particular with missile technology.
It
And
should
so
be
again,
right.
I'm
You don't
running
see
up
it.
there.
Okay.
whether this technology emanates from us or otherworldly, that we know that we possess it. And where's the accountability?
Just pull that one up.
Where are the stopgaps?
Okay.
What are the guarantees that if this were to fall in enemy hands, that it isn't immediately weaponized against us? And I'll say this, it is clear from my experience and what I've seen that there is something out there. The question is it ours? Is it someone else's? Or is it otherworldly? And Madam Chairman, I would posit that as the legislative body, as the regulatory body, we must know. And anyone
Oh my
who prevents
God,
us from
dude.
gaining access to that information,
Jesus fucking
I would
Christ.
consider that criminality.
Barely even
Because we have
slipped and
US
then fucking
personnel
all the way down.
who may very well be in harm's way. We have technology that ultimately may threaten our very existence. With that, Madam Chairman, I thank you for your indulgence, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Ogles. And with that and without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days within which to submit materials and to submit additional written
Holy
questions for
shit,
the witnesses, which will be forwarded to the witnesses for their response. If there's no further business without objection, the subcommittee stands adjourned.
But yeah, that one was pretty fucking interesting with everything they were saying.
Right.
Close that down. Bring up the game sounds again. There you go. All right. Is that all you... What? And it died again. Okay.
All right, so.
Oh, you got here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we got that done.
Bennett!
We can still set his waypoint. Let's do the follow the melody thing.
All right,
I mean,
we can
we're
do that.
already right here, so.
Where's that? Yeah, that's up over here. Okay.
Right there, north. Because that was the temple shit, you know? And then it's gonna die repeatedly.
Yep.
Oh, he is artifacting hard. I see what you were talking about.
Yeah. I say I almost wanted to jump back out and jump back in because I'm getting the graphic tear again.
Oh, we can do that, but
we'd have to go back home first. Let's just do this.
yeah, because I'm right on top of the temple.
Yep. Me does.
And he's over there. Yeah, you got the 3 buttons. We have to go find them again.
Right.
Which should be easy during the day.
Oh yeah, I forgot where they're at. Of course I did.
There's one in front of the temple and one on the 2 sides of it. No, stop what you're doing. Fucking A. All right.
Hold on, where the fuck did you go?
I went to one side of the temple here. Kind of looking to see where I can just jump down, grab it, and go.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
I don't see anything though. Other than that one area, which is... Oh, wait. Hello.
Oh, are you fucking serious? So annoying. Oh, there you are. Yeah, you're under. All right.
I don't... Yeah.
Oh, how the fuck?
I got the button on this one already anyway. Bennett, you definitely ain't in on this one. Because if you fuck up, you're done. You ain't got the stamina, son. You die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fell off some shit, like right in front of one of those dragons. I don't know how I died, but okay.
The second button has been pushed.
Right on.
Okay. Shut your big ass up, motherfucker. All right. Where the fuck is this button? All right. Where is this button? Ooh, sun's starting to go down. When the sun goes down on my side of town.
That's actually from the Good Country era.
Right.
I like that song.
Oh, shit. Hello. Stop flying immediately. I'm trying to double jump, bitch. What is happening? That is too far away from it. Fuck, I'm dead. Ran out of fucking stamina. We still got one more fucking...
Oh. Alright.
That's the one right there, so... It's gotta be... in this location. Somewhere there.
Bennett!
And it's holding in there, though.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely. I'm sure he's probably been playing this game for years. Or not years. Because it's not even a year old. Probably since it came out, so he's a veteran.
Oh, I'm fucking dead again.
I don't know where.
I'm fucking dead again. I'm fucking dead again.
Yep.
What the fuck? I hear the birds, they're laughing at me. I take
Stop
it personal.
laughing at me.
Take that shit personal.
Like that Michael Jordan thing. He's like, I took it personally.
Right.
All right.
Stop with the dumb shit, sir. I'm dead again. No fucking stamina. This is dog shit.
Yes. But I do see some dudes that I'm gonna fight. So that's fun. Now my graphics are like tearing too. Like my cape is like through the ground.
Stop with the bullshit with. God damn it. I hit the jump button. Fucking hell. Are you gonna fucking hit him?
No.
Come on, please. Instead of swinging right fucking through it. I need that life leech ability, bitch.
Oh, was that beginning part? Okay, yeah. Oh, never mind.
Bennett's near me. I can see him artifacting.
Bennett! Damn it. Get up. There you go. No. Damn it.
Come on, get goddamn behind it and stop fucking off. Bennett, you bastard. You're not helping.
All right.
Okay. There we go.
Bennett, you bastard.
I got nothing for health.
I'm just fighting shit that I find in places because I cannot find any of these buttons. I don't remember where they were at or anything.
It's where we are, close to where we are. That bastard just left me to die. All right.
Oh. No. Of course it had to happen. Why wouldn't it?
I got the fucking tomatoes. I got the wrong goddamn thing. I'm doing range damage boost and I'm not range. God damn it. No wonder my shit's not working right.
Yeah. All of our capes are extending into the ground now.
Ah, the button's right here.
What?
Yeah.
I hate myself. My retarded ass right there, like, no. So do we need one more? No, okay. Ooh.
All right, we're good. It's open.
Bennett! Oh, yeah, we already had her before. Yeah.
Yeah, that was on your side.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We didn't do it for here yet. That's right. Yeah. Duh. Sweet.
All right. Back to
All right, back to the main base.
This shit.
Yep.
I gotta pee.
Do it.
All right. The fuck was that?
Yeah, baby. You weirdo.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just the weirdo being a weirdo over here. Hey. Go. Hey. Where the fuck are those little things that we put that blue flower in?
I gave that to the wrong person. Give. Bennett.
Oh, let me give this to Bennett then. Yeah, those gloves.
Yeah.
Yep. Give that to him. Okay. Where do we put that flack flower at? Where are those little spinny fucking things?
Their bottom one, as soon as you walk in, you know that square area? They're against the wall. They're little hand spindles.
Oh, he gave me a bow. I might need that. I'll take a look at it. Hell yeah. Ooh, all right. Check around here. Nope. Yep, there they are. There we go.
I need to get my fucking food and shit going.
Right.
I'm gonna say cook for a minute.
Do it. Oh, the power 24 bow. Droth. It doesn't look too bad. The one I have is level 17. This goes up to 16. A little under, but what I will do is salvage that bitch. Yeah.
Right.
All right. My shit is getting a little too crazy looking. I'm jumping out. I will jump back in. I'm putting my stream on a break for a minute, and I will be back.